Hello everybody. I may be streaming right now, but this stream is simply a Huskar guide. I'm going to be talking about as much detail as I can about this hero. He is one of my favorite heroes. I believe I understand the hero completely, and I want to show you guys how you can use him to climb MMR, pick him in your semi-competitive or competitive teams, and make use of him to your greatest abilities. So first off, I took a lot of tips from watching Wagamama's guide to TA. And first thing I'm going to show is that my success as Huskar, to really portray how my builds have really been ironed out and have been successful. So first off, if you don't include practice games, if you go through these pages and ranked matchmaking solo, I'm not going to count it all out in front of you, but needless to say, my record in the last 22 games is 18-4. Is Huskar. I didn't go back any further, but I think that speaks a lot for itself. I wanted to, if I go back any further, it doesn't really become current any longer. So I just want you to know that that's my win rate in pubs, and on my stay on Summer's Rift, my Huskar record was 7-1, and that one loss was due to my team honestly not listening to me and not banning Ancient Apparition. And Ancient Apparition is the biggest counter to Huskar in the game, and we lost the game merely because I could not do anything. So on that note, I think the first thing and one of the most important things to talk about on Huskar is when to pick him and when he's good and what makes him good. So, a lot of people talk about matchups in the mid lane, Quap versus TA, TA doesn't do that hot, or Puck versus TA, Puck doesn't do very well. For Huskar, it's not nearly as much the lane. It does matter the lane, but it's mostly heroes that just counter him. When you have a hero whose passive makes him nearly immune to magic damage, and when he's at low HP, needless to say, if you do magic damage, you do nothing to him, and if you do a lot of physical or pure damage, you kind of own the hero, right? So I'm going to kind of just list through the heroes that are his counters. So I'm going to start with the heroes that I consider him unpickable against. And when I say that, I mean that if those heroes are in the pool or have already been picked, you just don't pick him. There's really no else to say, and I'll explain why for each one. The top one, and by far the worst, is Ancient Apparition. He prevents all healing. And Huskar completely relies on the item of Armlet, so if you turn Armlet off when you are Ancient Apparition ultied, you will lose 500 health and not be able to gain it back. Needless to say, you almost always are sitting at low HP as Huskar. You almost start every fight at low HP, so to get AA ultied and have your Armlet on, you're basically taking an extra 40 damage per second, and you can't heal. And his first ability is reliant on healing him when he has low health. So Ancient Apparition is by far the biggest counter, simply because he's not a mobile hero that can avoid the A ulti. BKB doesn't get rid of it. There's nothing you can do about it. That's really the biggest thing. I'd say the next one is Quap, because her ultimate is BKB piercing in the mid game. In the late game, she's not nearly as good versus him, but she's a very popular hero that can gank him early on, and if used effectively, can kill him very easily in the early to mid game and keep him shut down. Lina is next, and I say Lina because with her Ag Scepter ultimate that goes through BKB that does 950 pure damage almost all the time you are below half health, and for a very long period of time in the game you will have less than 2,000 health. So that kind of explains itself. Next we have Brood. Broodmother is not a direct counter to Huskar in terms of how every other hero is a counter to Huskar, but Huskar is extremely reliant on having a good lane, and the only way that he's allowed to lose his lane and still be successful is if they have to dedicate 2 or 3 heroes to shutting him down. And Brood is the only hero that can by herself shut down a Huskar, and just dominates her lane, and there's nothing you can do to save him. And he's not a very versatile hero. I do not believe he is good at going in and off lane or mid. I will talk about that as well, but yeah, I would not pick it into a Broodmother as well. And lastly, in that tier is Bloodseeker. The only reason Bloodseeker is really a counter, he isn't the best at killing Huskar, but you reliantly have to utilize Huskar to his fullest and max potential. You have to be farming at super low health. So if you are utilizing him efficiently, Bloodseeker will always see you where you are, and he will be moving fast and doing a ton of damage and everything like that. That just kind of innately makes him a counter to Huskar in the mid game. You're more buffing Bloodseeker than making it hard for you as Huskar. So in the next tier, we have Axe, just simply for the dunk spin damage is physical. He's not nearly, these heroes are pickable against, but it's not ideal. So there's Axe, first off, because he can kind of aggro lane you if he gets help, but also just the mid game when he gets a blink, you're pretty scary, but later on, he's not nearly as bad. Ursa, simply because if you dunk Ursa, he mans up on you and kills you because of the nature of Fury swipes. It's really hard to armlet toggle because if you actually armlet toggle him a couple times, he'll just have enough damage to one-shot you through your armlet, as well as the fact that he can ultimate to take no damage from you and be able to withstand your damage to him, so he'll be able to outman fight you. Viper, because of his physical damage from his passive, makes it so when you're lower health, he kills you a lot easier. And also because he is so good at shutting down a single target, and the damage over time is really hard to armlet toggle in the mid game. And then Doom, simply, I mean, straightforward. If he has an Ag Scepter, there's really no way for you to avoid getting doomed, and he just kills you. I consider him second tier because he needs an Ag Scepter and because he's not very popular. So you don't usually have to worry about Doom, and you can also get an Aegis to deal with Doom. So that's why he's in the second tier. And then third tier are kind of the last heroes I thought about that I wouldn't want him against ideally, but I would still pick him in competitive. In pubs, these heroes can be kind of a nightmare. Timber, the reason why Timber's down here, even though he supplies a bunch of pure damage, is a solo offlaner who loses to Huskar in lane. You can counter him with a BKB, and you'll have a good start, so you should be able to farm pretty decently. And he still has to hit you with all of his stuff, right? So you have to be disabled, you have to not be able to dodge him, all that stuff. I said TA because she's just a high physical burst damage hero. She usually builds Deso, minus armor, and that kind of counters the whole hero entirely. She adds a lot of physical damage to her teammates, but at the same time, I'm still willing to pick Huskar. Clinks, he's a high physical damage dealer that is invisible, obviously. So if you are trying to jungle at low health to medium health in the mid game or at any time in the game where you're farming and you're not super strong already, he's really good at scouting you out, getting maybe one person to help him, or even doing it solo, bursting you down with his physical damage. Ricky, same concept, clouding you. You can't heal yourself, you can't ulti, you can't do anything, and he supplies enough physical damage from backstab that's really hard to armlet toggle. That's mostly in pubs, but like in professional, I wouldn't be as concerned. I'd like have supports that bought me sentries. Tinker for the laser pure damage and mischance, as well as the fact that it's mostly in the late game that one of the hardest counters to Huskar is a permasheep from Tinker. He's like the one hero in the game that can permanently disable you, and the way to beat Huskar in the late game is by simply ignoring him, killing his team, and then killing Huskar after all of his team is dead. So a hero that can permanently stun him is obviously ideal for that scenario. And my last hero I put on this list is Enigma, simply because his Midnight Pulse is pure damage, and it basically creates a battlefield that you can't fight on. Like, you have to just avoid it, and you're not particularly mobile. The biggest thing about it is if you're really snowballing already and you're healing yourself with your first ability, it'll probably do about the same amount of damage as your first ability, and it's not like it's pure burst damage, so you'll usually have time to get out of it as long as you're not getting perma-stunned on top of it. So those are the heroes that I would say are bad against Huskar, or that Huskar is bad against, I'm sorry. And I would ideally not pick him into. Just the ones that I'm going to repeat again that I would never pick him into is AA, Queen of Pain, Lena, Brood, and Bloodseeker. So people talk to me about begging me to play Huskar mid. Why do you not Huskar mid, etc., etc. What about Huskar offlane? Coming from Dota buffs, #1 ranked Huskar in the world, not to toot my own horn, but just being straight with you here. He is not a mid laner, and he is not an off laner. I will note that in the mid lane, he is good against heroes like Ember, Pudge, Zeus. He does decently versus TA. But as the thing I'm going to highlight later in the game, or later in this guide, is that he is very weak early. His passive is not leveled up. He has 1 base armor. He has no mobility. Needless to say, his abilities are really weak early on without any items. That makes him weak in lane if he's pressured, which is why I said heroes like Broodmother are really good, and why he's also weak to ganks. So you got to put it, the reason why he's so important to put in the safe lane is he's squishy as fuck. So if you put him in the mid lane, you'd be like, oh, he's good against heroes like TA. It's like, yes, if this was an ideal world where you are 1v1ing a TA, you'll do just fine. But if you have to fight the TA ever, and she gets help from like 1 support that has a stun, you're gonna die. There's really nothing else to say about it. That's why I view him as a poor mid. With heroes like Zeus, he free farms. With heroes like Pudge, he dominates them so hard that it's okay. But all I can very much say is the validation that he's so weak, and he's so weak to ganks that putting him mid lane leaves him extremely vulnerable to that kind of thing. So first off, after that, that's why he should be a safe laner. I'm going to talk about starting items on the hero, and I'm going to be showing you 3 different games in 3 different scenarios that encompass each one of these, and each different scenario in the game will portray how my build and Huskar vary slightly, but not very much. So first off, against melee offlaners that you will not be getting harassed by, and they are by themselves. This is Clockwork, Tidehunter, Spirit Breaker. Those are the big ones I think of off the top of my head. There are others, but those are ones that don't really have a way to harass Huskar. You know, like Tidehunter, Anchor Smash has to be melee range. Spirit Breaker can charge you, but that's about it. And Clockwork has to cog you, and that's like as long as you're not retarded, shouldn't get cogged by Clockwork. My build is to go Boots, Tango, and a Branch. You will see this in this first game. So I'm going to go into this first game, and I'm going to show you how you should approach the lane when you are in this particular situation. Every way to lane Huskar is different based on the matchup he is in. So I'm going to go into this game first. So in this particular game, I end up snowballing. I'm against a Tidehunter solo. This is a recent game. Probably maybe a decent portion of you were even here for this game. I always hate that it like doesn't show. Oh, come on! For the sake of the guide, Dota. I don't know if you guys have been getting this issue lately. Maybe I need to verify my game cache or cache, whatever you pronounce it. But like 1 out of like every 20 loads I get, my game freezes. Sorry about that, guys. Not much you can do about that. It mostly happens when I load replays, so hopefully it doesn't happen too many times on this guide. It'd be really stupid to have an extra 3 minutes of stuff. It's really hard to edit videos from Twitch to YouTube. So, second time's a charm. Hopefully. Rip my Dota client. So yeah, this game was rather recent. It was about 3 or 4 days ago. Let's hope my game doesn't shit itself again. So something I've already highlighted that I'll highlight again about Huskar, as you'll see when I get in the game. Not only does he have low base armor, he also has low base damage. Okay, so first off I'm going to point out, oh my god, disaster. I'm telling you guys right now, I watched all 3 of these replays off stream just like today, and I spent time evaluating them. I watched more than just these 3, but I watched like all the replays, and this didn't happen a single time. So, disaster. I really hope this doesn't continue, because if it does, I will be clipping this portion out, and my guide will have 2 parts. I might end up dividing my guide into parts either way by game, because each game is different and each scenario needs to be handled differently. Oh, rip. Oops. There we go. Get the salt out, boys. We're good in for a good one. You need to get a new computer? No, I don't. This okay. Dota. Spare me. I'm telling you guys, this didn't happen a single time while I was making the script, so to speak, for this. Can I click further into the game and not have this happen? Oh my god. Is it just this replay? Am I not allowed to go to the 4 minutes into the replay? Okay, guys, we're going to take a different approach. I will be cutting this out of my freaking guide. This is a disaster. Whatever. I don't know what else to say. It just didn't happen a single fucking time when I was making the script for this. Oh well. Wrecked in peace, yes. Third time is a charm, and by third time I mean third DC from it. Please spare me. I guess I'm just gonna fast forward super fast to get to the point in the game. Do it in smaller increments. Delete the replay and download it again. Guide how you should not watch replays. I mean, I guess I'm doing it wrong because I like I already said, I freaking watched all these replays already with no issues. I'm just going to talk about the draft real quick. I know it's an all pick, but needless to say, when they pick something, it's the easiest time to pick Huskar is when they pick something that's clearly an offlaner. Timbersaw, solo offlaner. Timbersaw, Tidehunter, Clockwork are the first ones that come to mind. Those are almost always solo. So I see the Tidehunter pick here. I believe, okay, so I get last pick. I almost always try to pick him 4th or 5th. I never pick prior. If you want to pick him before that and kill yourself for it, then go ahead. But see how they have no physical damage dealers, no pure damage dealers, other than Venge, Wave of Terror. I have chosen to pick Huskar because of that exact reason. I know I'm against a Tidehunter, and that is why I've chosen to go my Boots build, and it'll show you why is effective. Okay, why is it not showing me player perspective? Let's go ahead and fast forward right to the start of the lane. Always help your team secure runes. That applies to any hero, not just Huskar. So we get to my lane. As a hero with 47 damage, without the branch I have 46. It is really important to note that your base damage is very low. So winning last hit battle is not done by trying to let them last hit as well as yourself. For people who are very new to the game, Flaming Spears is a unique attack modifier. Then that's if you don't autocast it and you actually manually click it on the target, it will not creep aggro. It will not aggro the creeps. This is basically the key to winning the lane with Huskar. I know you're all probably like, this is so obvious. But yeah, that's what wins them the lane. So that's what you have to abuse in a line matchup like this. So to note, I am basically solo versus a Tidehunter. So to start off the lane, I utilize my boots. Like I try to play aggressively, see how I position myself aggressively, and I start prioritizing clicking him as much, or harassing him as much as possible, pushing him out of lane with aggressiveness. I do miss a last hit here, but that's completely worth it to establish your dominance in lane early on. If you just let him sit in lane, you'll miss last hits anyway. Please spare me. Oh my fucking god. Okay. This is shitting on me, guys. Is it because I'm streaming? Is that really why? Is it because I'm streaming? Okay, it's not a unique attack modifier, but it... You guys know what I mean. It's an orb. It's something that doesn't abuse creep aggro. This is pathetic. I guess I will delete the replay, as someone has suggested that I do, and re-download it. Where is my replay? Downloaded. Little do I know, the replay is now going to be expired. That is what I believe will happen. If it's expired, then it's a fucking disaster. If it's actually expired, I'm just going to go to bed and try again tomorrow. Sorry guys that are here for the sake of the guide. I'm just going to be clipping that entire portion. So I will be repeating myself. Sorry you have to suffer through about a minute and a half, but this is mainly meant to be a guide, not meant to be a stream. So I will try to fast forward. I'm going to quickly talk about the picks again. In this kind of game, I picked last. I highly suggest picking Huskar last or fourth. In this particular game, I also recommend picking him when you know that they have a solo offlaner. You can deal with being pressured in lane, but it is ideal when they have a solo offlaner. The first ones that come to mind are Clockwork, Tidehunter, and Timbersaw. He just wins against melee heroes that are solo offlaners, and it's just his ideal matchup that creates a really good game for him. They have no physical damage dealers, so I pick Huskar. I know I'm against a solo Tidehunter, so I decided to go boots first. As I mentioned earlier, that is my build to go against melee offlaners. Always secure the rune. That's something you do on every hero, but that's what I start the game off as Huskar. You're pretty survivable with boots. Sometimes I've had games where I do this, and you actually get really low health from contesting the rune. But you usually don't die just when you have boots. I mean, 350 move speed's pretty strong, so... So, as I was going to talk about prior to my DC, the way to win your lane as Huskar is the fact that Burning Spears is not a unique attack modifier, but indeed, since it is an orb, does not attract creep aggro when you use it manually. If you have it on autocast and you A-click the guy, it will attract, but if you don't, you can walk straight at the guy and start harassing him, and then creeps won't attack you. That's a huge way to win your lane, and that's the key to winning it as Huskar. So right from the get-go on Tidehunter, I emphasize being aggressive. I'd get a right-click in right there, and I immediately posture aggressively so that he can't come up and hit the creeps. Because of your low base damage, I do miss a last hit there, but because of your low base damage, instead of trying to contest 4 last hits, the best way to do it is simply make it so they can't get last hits. This is completely worth sacrificing last hits in the early game, meaning like missing like that one or another one, maybe 2 or 3 of them, and that'll shut down the offlaner and it'll just spur you ahead so that you'll be able to get almost every last hit later on. So every time he walks up, I will be harassing him. See, it's a 1v1 lane that I am basically free farming, and then he walks up. This is what the boots allow you to do. I only got in the amount of right clicks I got in because of the boots. The Flaming Spears will do the damage for you, so I don't prioritize getting as much damage. I prioritize being able to right-click the guy, or being able to A-click the guy. So that's why I bought the boots. Lets you get in a couple extra right-clicks, and it makes it so heroes like Clockwork can't easily cog you, heroes like Tidehunter cannot easily anchor smash you, etc. So I've pretty easily established my lane dominance. If you look at last hits here, between me and him, I'm 11-2 and he's 1-0 with the 1 gush he got on the first one. So I continue to play aggressively. The lane is pushed, and ideally if you do have a support in this kind of scenario, they would have pulled. So like the lane would come back to you, and you playing aggressively at the start, pushing the lane is perfectly fine. But if you're 1v1, it's okay to play aggressively and push the lane because you're 1v1, so you're not expected to, you know, completely zone the guy out entirely, right? He's basically a 1v1 matchup. So right away, I do always rush Armlet. Sometimes I'll buy a magic wand, which I'll talk about later. But in solo v solo like this, I always rush Armlet. See the amount of trading I'm doing, and see how much I'm getting out of this lane, and it's like costing me health. But I know I'm safe in this lane, so I'm willing to trade like that. And the whole point being is that the only debate you have when you're with your Armlet is what components to build first. So when I buy boots, I'm low on regen, low on armor. So about 90% of the time, I will buy the Helm of the Iron Will first, simply because Flaming Spear or Burning Spears cost health, right? So even if you're not technically getting harassed by them, if you're harassing them, you're taking damage. So just giving yourself a little bit of sustain is really nice early on. And if you're a 1v1 matchup, you should be able to get enough farm that like you shouldn't have to need damage. You shouldn't have to need like attack speed or anything for last hit. You'll just dominate last hits like by harassing him. So you'll just want to focus on that being your point of focus. So the major thing that nobody seems to do that I've emphasized a lot on my stream is getting at level 4 that value point and heal. The reason behind this is the difference between level 1 and level 2 passive is very minimal. It's 2 attack speed per stack and it's 1% magic resistance. From 4 to 5%, like that's really not that big of a deal, especially the reason when it gets a big deal is when you get to your max passive, because your max passive means at low health you actually have like 1%, like you take 1% damage compared to like 14%. So that's a pretty big math gap, but at this low health or at this low level, it's not that big a deal. And you'll see here, it's actually going to pay off that this extra point in heal, it's a base regen of 10. In the early game, that's pretty good. So with 5% plus 10 plus 20% when I'm hurt, I'm probably going to get about 15 regen, right? That's a pretty big deal early game for surviving, for manning up, whatever have you. So I've already established my dominance in lane. This should happen every time you're against a solo offlaner. This should just be how the lane goes. So every time he walks up, see, he's going to man up on me here. This heal really pays off. It allows me to be aggressive. Would he have killed me without that? Probably. Would I have played like that if I didn't have my heal? Probably not. But the point is the heal allows me to play like that. So basically, I mean, I'm legenning 20 health per second, you know? That's pretty massive early on. So I trade with him, and I'm perfectly fine trading with him because I know that I'm dominating the lane already, and I'll get my health. And he actually dies. I forgot that he died. People underestimate Huskar very heavily in lane, and they'll man up on you like that, and you'll be surprised how many times they'll do it. Especially even in my tier, right? Like this guy may be 4K player, but it's still my tier of Dota that is much higher than not the average. So now that I've established dominance in lane, I'm gonna fast forward here. If I don't need the other two components, I will just fly myself the recipe first, just to speed up when I get my armlet. So as Huskar, in this scenario, I have a free tower to push because there's nobody here. But if you don't have your armlet yet, I almost always prioritize playing safely, trying to pull the lane back, with pulling the big camp, whatever have you, because when you don't have an armlet, you're still really vulnerable to dying, to ganks, whatever the way they're going to try to kill you, ganks, mid-ganking, supports ganking you, TPs in, whatever it is. You're still very vulnerable, so if I didn't have a free push right here, I would not be pushing tower. I highly prioritize playing safely, because if you get enough ahead as Huskar, towers will just happen, and you'll see that when it does. So the minute you get your armlet, you are a completely different hero. There are two phases of the game where you are vulnerable. The first one is the laning stage for all the reasons I talked about. The second one is right when you get your armlet. Your armlet is, I mean, I'd say it's a survivable Midas. I talk about Midases on heroes, things that let you farm. The minute you get your armlet, turn on your flaming spears automatically, autocast, instantly, no questions asked. If you are not low health, you are not farming efficiently. On this hero, you get up to 14 stacks, and up to 14 stacks, I mean, like even 5 stacks, that's 88 attack speed. I mean, try Rage on Lifesteal or try Fervor on Troll. You know how much of a difference it makes to have that much attack speed. And I already hit for 126 damage. I compare getting a Huskar armlet to getting like a Drought ultimate. Like you just suddenly go from hitting from kittens to really hard and really fast, just like I like it. So Kappa, that is what the approach you need to immediately take when you get your armlet. Secondly, when I get to level 3 Flaming Spears, a lot of refinement has come to this skill build, but now it's basically every game for me. The minute I get level 3 Flaming Spears, I leave it there and start maxing my passive, simply because of what I talked about, that if you have max passive and you have low health, you are now take 1% damage compared to 14% damage. I think it's maybe 17% damage. Either way, it's a significant difference. And So I had and like the level from 3 to 4 is 15 to 20. And if you do the math, like from level 1 to 2, that's double. But if you really think about innate regen and like, 1 or 2 on each hero in magic resistance, that goes from that 5 damage is actually like 2 or 3, and that 10 damage is like 7 or 8. So it's really like triple or quadrupling your damage. And then level 2 or level 3 of this passive, going from 10 to 15, instead of 8, it's like 13, right? So you're all of a sudden going, or 12 or 13 instead of 7 or 8. So you're suddenly increasing another 50%, but here it's only going to about 16 or 15 once you max it, after all resistances and regen and all that stuff. It's actually going to like 13. And then it's actually about 11 when it's, I don't know what I'm talking about. I had this math earlier. It's about 11 at level 3, about 13 or 14 at level 4. So the big deal about it is that it's really big percentage growth up until this point, and then it's basically negligible to level 4. You still max it after passive, but I consider passive much more important. So here I am, getting myself low health. You'll notice that once you have an armlet and flaming spears, you will get yourself really low really quick. That's just how it works. So right here I have a really dominant lane, so I will use my armlet to push the tower. And you'll see here that I do something really stupid. I didn't think he'd be able to anchor smash me, and I got anchor smashed and died. It is physical damage. That's the kind of stupid shit that even as a Huskar player of my caliber that I consider, you'll still do dumb shit. And that's the kind of stuff where playing aggressively is how you learn, and that's my recommendation for how you play. I mean, that was just a really dumb death. So we're just going to fast forward. That shit happens all the time as Huskar. Like, those are the dumb deaths. Like, this is the hero that it happens on. So right back into business as usual, though. Leaving my armlet on. I don't want health. I want to be low. I want to farm fast, and farming fast means attacking fast. So, and leaving spears on. So I'm pushing the lane back in because I'm not getting messed with. I see 2 bottom. I know Tidehunter can't really kill me. That was a fluke. That should not be something I'm scared of. That was me being bad, not because of the situation of the game. So here I push the tower. You're going to see the value point and heal pay off here. I man up on him. He thinks he can man up on me. The heal, I would have died to those creeps without the heal. It's really hard to armlet toggle early on when you're to creeps, because your armor is low enough that creeps will kill you between armlet toggles. Later on, you'll have enough armor that they actually won't kill you. But right there, if I did not have my heal, I would have died to creeps. So I take the tower. My next build, I used to go treads first, and sometimes I still will, but I tend to like to go morbid, and this is why. If you don't go morbid right now, and you go do jungle camps, you have to kite them and to armlet toggle. But if you have morbid, you can kill every camp unless it's stacked, just by hitting it and using the lifesteal as sustain, and then you'll be able to back off, as you'll see in a second here. So I buy the morbid, buy a TP, so I can be ready to help my team. I do not help my team. My goal on Huskar, the ideal game, is to farm for about 10 minutes, and that will be delayed if you have a bad start. But yeah, farm for about 10 minutes, get your core items up, and then like take map control entirely and aid in your team. So that pull right there was really crucial. I'm going to rewind that. After you push the tower as any hero, but I mean any hero in general, but it's nice as Huskar, is to pull this big camp. On Radiant, you can just pull the little one into the big one, or in the medium one, to pull the lane back to your side of the map. It makes it so that you can farm your lane still. It makes it so that they have to come out if they want to farm it, and it sets up stuff about like what's about to happen here. So this Earthshaker's farming his lane. If those creeps had kept going, this may have still happened, but the fact that like he's still hitting this catapult and the creeps aren't there yet, makes like it really does make a difference in the long run. Maybe not this particular scenario, but I immediately play aggressive. I saw the tiny bottom. I'm not concerned about dying. And those are the kind of plays I'm willing to make to learn, but those are the kind of plays you'll understand in the near future that you can make. So I end up getting ganked here. I man up on the Tide because I'm like, oh, this guy just thinks he can do this shit again. He's dumb. And I end up dying to a gank, and this is like worst case scenario though. I end up killing the Tide. Like this is worst case scenario. I man up and kill the Tide. These are the kind of deaths that you really have to avoid, and I'm trying to show you that even as a player who's played Huskar a bunch, they still happen, and you should try to not be, like if you play like a pussy, you're not learning Huskar, and you're not going to be able to play him to the max potential. So we're going to go and fast forward here. I finished the Helm. I will be going into Treads next. I did not want to be Bloodseeker's perspective. So I'm back top farming, pushing the lane out. Losing all my health, dunking a creep even to lose health. And now I go back to the jungle. This is where it's really crucial that you understand efficiency in Huskar. The way you are efficient with Huskar is by finishing creeps with flaming spears. And that one I actually did not do it properly, but I believe I do it next camp. it's kind of like with Lone Druid, how you walk away with your hero as your bear's killing the creeps. See how I leave these creeps at like low health and then I just walk away? Yeah, this is the kind of stuff where every 3 seconds you save with Huskar is, I mean, it just adds up for a hero that doesn't tend to farm fast. If I do not have lifesteal, I will not use Flaming Spears on golems because it's just not worth it. I'll have to back up because I'm using them. But if I have lifesteal, I don't really care. But this is when I crank up the farm mode, meaning like this just shows how fast you farm with Huskar with an armlet. And you don't have to back away from the camps. I didn't get to show you that you had to back away from the camps if you don't have lifesteal, but because I have lifesteal, you see that I don't have to kite the camps. So here this is something I'm going to emphasize many times as Huskar, and this is what I'm going to show here. The freaking pause is sick. I'm going to help my team here, but the minute I go on somebody or I'm going to engage, I always pop my heal first. That's like crucial in any scenario. For this particular one, I'm about to dunk a guy and man fight him, so I'm turning my armor on. It's turning my heal on. That's like really important every single time. So basically, he tries to kill the Shadow Fiend. He ends up dying for it. Really good kill. I get my treads, and immediately I just start playing aggressively. I now have max passive, max spears. I'm not at any concern about dying. Like, if they had a Queen of Pain, I could not be sitting at this kind of health and just be doing whatever I want. But they have nothing that can burst me down from this health. It may seem like, oh, you're at 400 health with an armlet on, but there's nothing that can burst me down. So then I'm willing to play super aggressive. I see this guy walk out of tower range, so I immediately dunk him. Turn my heal on the second I can again when I get out of here. Okay, I swear I turned my heal on. There we go. Yeah. So I turn my heal on when I see the guy that's ready to go on me. I knew they didn't have any gap closers because of Storm Spirit. But now I'm going to play super aggressively on this guy as well. He thinks he can man up on me. I apply all the Flaming Spears, run away from him the minute that I know I have to armlet toggle. So like right there, if I had stayed for one more attack, if you notice here, look, if I stay for one more attack from him and the tower, this is when it's getting dangerous, right? So I stay for that one, like I take this attack, take that attack from the tower, and immediately back away. So now, this is the key to armlet toggling, is knowing what's your threat. I know he can't right-click me, so my only concern is the tower. So I'm timing my armlet toggle around the tower. Just like I did there. Get another kill. Run away. Immediately tread switch, turn my heal on, and walk away. With any threat of, I know it's only the Storm Spear left, but that's like something that's just good to practice. If there's any other hero coming behind me, I want my heal on if they start disabling me. It's really important to the difference in surviving or not. So as I've shown you, immediately establish your dominance as Huskar. You do a ton of damage to towers. You attack really fast, and I hit for like 160 with the armlet on. So you take control of the map. You're going to see the same story happen in every game, regardless of the situation. It just depends on when it happens. Everything with Huskar depends on how the game's going. So you see this tiny go on me. I don't even have my armlet on. I didn't tread switch. Like, don't worry about tread switching when you're getting killed like this. I immediately heal, turn my armlet on, man up, and he dies too. Even when I was under tower, taking tower shots, a tiny in the mid game could not do shit. If that doesn't show you that Huskar basically wins in the draft, if properly picked, then I don't know what else would show you. My next focus I'm going to show is that I do not level my ulti past 1 until every other ability is maxed. I prioritize it higher than stats, but I do not prioritize it higher than your heal. Most importantly, your duration on your heal is 16 seconds. So when you go from level 1 to 2, the downtime goes from 6 to 2. Effectively, cuts the downtime of your heal in 1/3. So I highly emphasize that it's important at level 11 because it is such a long level to have 2 points in heal. So the minute that you win a fight, some people be like, hey, you have an armlet, can't you just go Roche? My opinion on Roshing as Huskar is that you don't do it until they can't F with you. Meaning that if they come and F with you, they should die. And that usually encompasses telling your team to help you. It doesn't always, but having your team nearby. Just having the right items. I usually recommend these being the right items, especially if you're snowballing. Sometimes it's a bit more, but in general, it's like you take a good fight. Either their ultimates are down or something. They do have their ultimates still, but all these scenarios, you want to make it so they can't contest you, and if they do, they die for it. That's like the emphasis I have on Roche, because if you go into Roche and try on a snowballing hero and you die because they contest you and you're vulnerable to them to contesting you, that's like game throwing, potentially. So the key to Roche, it's pretty simple, but I do have somebody tanking here, but you always stand right here in the pit, and if you have lifesteal and an armlet and a helm, you will be able to simply stand there, and when Roche leaves, like even if he bashes you, all RNG aside, I've done the math, or I've done it. You just don't die if you toggle properly. That when he backs off, you toggle, and when he comes back towards you, you toggle back on. I have somebody tanking for me here, so it's like a little bit different, but it's the same concept, and you'll see it in other games on stream. So we take Roche, and this is like, so this is like where Huskar really ramps up as a hero. I know I said about 10 to 12 minutes a farm, even though I've been farming most of this game. I've been pretty active, right? Like I've been around the map in mid. You know, I've died twice, and I still have 87 CS at 12 minutes, and I've been a part of 9 kills. It just goes to show how fast you can farm, and like the potential that this hero has. So this is something that one thing to talk about why Helm is better than something like Vlad's is that I haven't found one yet, but it's really good for wolves and for ice armor creeps. I consider it really valuable if they have high physical damage to get the ice armor creep. It basically puts you at 31 armor. I mean, like, okay, we're going to say 21 because I'm going to assume I don't have the plate mill yet. It would put me at 21 armor plus an attack speed slow on myself if I have the ice armor at 12 minutes. It's pretty reasonable to have Tread's Armlet Helm at 12 minutes. So even if I'm not snowballing. So I also think that the Wolf is very good because it just gives you a hero that already has decent physical damage even more. Makes him it's really good for pushing towers, especially after you get the Roche, especially good for taking the Roche. The movement speed creep is okay as well, but I definitely recommend those 2 creeps as the highest priority, and that's on you to decide. If they have 5 physical damage, I prioritize the defensive one. If they don't, then I prioritize the Wolf. Sometimes I'll still take the Wolf if I can't find the ice armor creep. It's a low cooldown on Helm. So the minute you get Roche, like I don't even have my whole team here. I just know I'm invincible. Like, and that's something you just have to understand as Huskar, and you'll get a gauge for it by playing. So minute we get Roche, just take all the towers. And the minute that I'm in vision, like last time I said when I was going on somebody, I pop my heal, but every time now when I'm pushing towers, if you notice, I'm always healing myself in front of the tower. I do not want to get initiated on without my heal on. That is crucial. Like, I mean, that is one of the most important things as Huskar. There's a game on my stream the other day where I was like mid-animation of heal. I knew I was in danger, and I got like pulled by a storm the minute, like this mid-animation of heal. I didn't get my heal off, and I died barely. And I would not have died if I didn't. And the crucial thing about Huskar is if you're sitting at low health, then you're dealing a shit ton of damage, and your heal is kind of meant to keep you there. Based on how it works with the fact that you get a lot more heal when you are below 40%. So here we go. I'm just going to continue here. I'll talk about the item build in a second. So we keep pushing towers. Take all the map control after you get this Aegis. It's almost impossible to kill me once, let alone twice. As you can see here, they tried to go on me underneath tower with Wave of Terror while I was taking tower damage. Could not kill me. All this stuff, like in terms of dunking people, is kind of irrelevant. But like they just can't touch me. I'm invincible right now. So I'm underneath their tower. So this is going to show how strong Huskar is. Yes, my teammates were out of position. They did not need to be up there, like straight up. I'm okay with dying right here because I know they can't kill me twice. I had no mana to heal, which is not ideal. But so you're going to see them chase after me in a dirge. I was begging this dirge to lay his tombstone. You're going to see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and play this in regular time. So they go ahead and try to kill us with 5v2. As you can see here, I heal myself the minute I can. Man up, back up to kite them into the tomb. You don't always just man up. It's really good to kite them, especially with armlet toggling. They man up versus 5v2, and I kill them all, and then we continue our base push. I'm basically unkillable at this point, and I'm emphasizing that from about the 15-minute mark or so, or 12-minute mark to about the 30-minute mark, Huskar is, in my opinion, the strongest hero in Dota. If he has a good game, meaning like the other team is not good versus Huskar. So the story continues. We continue the push. I do not care that I do not have an Aegis. They are all dead with no ultimates. I end up dying here. I thought I could finish the tower. I miscalculated. That was my bad. The only time you'll really die in the mid game is to towers. I treat it like Bristleback. I just learned this the other day, but Bristleback's passive doesn't work on towers, thus making him vulnerable particularly to towers. It's different why you're vulnerable, but Huskar in particular is only vulnerable to physical damage if you pick him against a lineup that doesn't have much. The only things that's going to deal damage is towers, so it's really crucial that you do not get initiated on when towers are hitting you, and when avoidable, because they will supply the damage needed to kill you. If that tower wasn't there, I promise you I do not die right there. So on my next part of my build, whenever I'm against low physical damage lineups with a hero that doesn't particularly hit hard yet, like a Tiny will hit hard later, but he doesn't hit hard right now, I just build armor. The crucial thing I'm going to talk about with items is that it is essential that you understand how to build Huskar. When you play a hero like Huskar, who you have to think about it as like other heroes that are considered tanky, right? It's okay to build heart. It's okay to just build health. Like they just want to be tanky, but Huskar gets tankier as he gets lower health. So instead of looking at it like percentage-wise, instead of looking at it as I want more max health, the way you want to look at Huskar is I want to have more valuable health. I want my health to be efficient. So that being said, that is almost always armor. Armor, evasion, BKB, stuff like that is insanely important on Huskar. The items I will never have you build on Huskar, ever, okay? Like these are build items you will never build. Anything that gives raw health. Bloodstone, like some people have argued Bloodstone for the healing, so Bloodstone, Octarine Core, Heart. Never in my life have I built a Heart on Huskar since I've been decent at Dota. Maybe a long time ago, but I have not built a single Heart on Huskar. It is not good at all. On a hero that doesn't want to be full health, why would you get an item that regens you to full health? Damage items. Until the very late game, the only damage item, even in the very late game, the only damage item I think is viable on Huskar is an MKB. And that's simply to deal with mischance and evasion. I believe Daedalus is an item you should never buy. And I believe that if it doesn't supply you with armor or evasion or lifesteal, it is not a good item. So why would you ever build hard over Satanic? Satanic promotes you staying at the same health as long as you're attacking. That's the kind of stuff that you have to think about. Those items are just so bad on Huskar. So we're gonna go ahead and fast forward. I did die there, minor setback, stupid decision making. It really comes down to a miscalculation of that much. For some reason, it's not letting me click on the tower from the player's perspective. So when I say that, my item build in a lineup where they don't have much physical damage is always a Soul Cure ass. Like if they had one particular hero, say they had a Juggernaut, one specific hero that hits really hard, or a TA, I will usually go Helm into Halberd just to disable that one hero from hitting me. I'm not as much concerned about my armor, I'm concerned about that one hero hitting me. Because most heroes don't do enough damage with a BKB and no other items. So if you have a Halberd, they'll either have to build a BKB and not do enough damage, or not build a BKB and not even be able to hit you. So same thing here. Back to farming. There's really no rush in this kind of game. However, they do take a team fight down below. I just got my AC. This is the kind of game where my usual game plan is if I'm not snowballing. I'm particularly snowballing pretty hard in this game, even with 3 deaths. But the general plan is to use that first Rosh to take all their outer tier towers, at least most of them, and then farm up, wait for the next Rosh, force the fight at Rosh because it's really hard to fight into a Huskar no matter what your heroes are, and then rinse and repeat, but now push their base. That's basically how you do it, and that's why most games with my Huskar, even at the professional level, end around the 25 to 30 minute mark, because the first Rosh happens around 10 to 15, and the next Rosh happens between 20 and 25, and then you just end it on that second Rosh. And even if the game doesn't particularly end, it will end, So for some reason I forgot I didn't have sound on. I didn't particularly care for sound right now, but I will turn it on a little bit. Just because it's actually bothering me. So we take a really good fight. There's really nothing to learn from that fight. Just know that it's a good fight. So the first thing we do off this fight is we just immediately go back to pushing their base. That fight in particular, I showed up late. My team only needed me to help clean up. People question me about the item of Greaves. I do view Greaves as a really decent item on Huskar, but if you play him simply, from the attack speed, noticeable difference. Tread's AC is about the same cost, a little bit more expensive, but overall you do so much more damage to towers and to heroes with Tread's AC. than you do with Greaves, and you usually want to have somebody else build the mech. Like, you can go Greaves if no in competitive when it's much more coordinated, but you don't particularly need the mana as long as you have like one pair of mana boots. Even tread switching is pretty decent, and you just do so much more damage to towers. And usually as Huskar, if you're the one position, you're gonna be the only tower damage dealer. In this case, I have an SF, but in general and like competitive and stuff, you'll be the only tower damage dealer. So this was what makes you deal damage. So here we are pushing their high ground. I'm willing to dunk in. I really don't. I just don't care. In this kind of scenario, you just got to understand when you're basically invincible. I did not know he had a blade mail, but I ended up dunking in. As you'll see here, I'm willing to initiate, push them off, bully them away. Even if I wasn't to kill them here, the main purpose was to push them away so we could push the buildings. Constantly healing myself. Can't emphasize that enough. So, I mean, straight put, they can't even engage into us. I mean, this is what Huskar does. You can't even engage. And bullying them away from the racks is really important. Like, not letting them hit. If they walk up like that, don't let them hit you. Like, push them away. Like, you gotta remember, even though you're basically invincible, the way to lose as Huskar is let them kill your entire team. So the Bloodseeker's retarded. So here we go, back, you know, back through the motions, pushing all their outer tier towers. I look to go Halberd next, simply just for the evasion tankiness and, you know, planning on if the game ever does go late, the only person that will hit hard is Tiny. You're going to see here that I get... Okay, so we're going to rewind. I'm just trying to portray again how tanky Huskar is with armor. This is all I have is armor. That's all I have. I have 26 armor at 20 minutes. So I get swapped in to their tower. I am Wave of Teared. I get swapped. I'm getting hit by a tower. I am medallioned. I get my heal off. I man up on the guy that's not blade mailing. And I just don't die. And that's what makes Huskar effective. The fact that I hit pretty hard with my armlet on, I'll hit for about 200. And with AC and Flaming Spears combined with that, you can't be ignored. So your goal is to make them try to focus you, and you'll learn on your own how aggressive you can be and like how forceful you can be, like basically forceful at how making them engage on you. How forceful you can be without dying. And that's like the main thing you'll learn playing Huskar. Blade Mail is not really a counter to Huskar. It's really important to check people's items. If they buy a Blade Mail, you simply never dunk them unless it's down. And if they try to go on you, make sure you don't have auto attack on this hero because it's really hard to cancel with the passive because you attack so fast. But yeah, that's the first game. That is a general stomp on Huskar. Ends about 21 minutes. The way it works with Huskar, like I said, the timings are all about the same. It's about an average of like 12-minute Roches and 25-minute long games, and the games will just be sped up or slowed down based on how much you feed and how much you snowball. So like if you snowball, they'll be sped up, and if you feed, they will slow down. So I have another recent game here. My next game is going to be portrayed as a game of Huskar where I am struggling in lane. These are all recent games. If you go into the last patch, for some reason the health bars get fucked up. So I could not go into the last patch. So in this particular game, I picked Huskar for the same purpose of they have no physical damage dealers. But as you'll see here, this game wasn't quite as ideal because they're going to create a dual offlane against me. And like they picked Dirge. And Dirge is a really popular... Undying is a really popular hero in this meta, and that's something that I want to focus on as one of my like heroes, like how to play against Dirge, because he's so popular. And oftentimes as a safe laner, you will have an Undying against you. Dirge is Undying. It's his Dota 1 name. But yeah, so I willingly, as you see here, they have no physical damage dealers. Some people say Slark is a counter. I disagree. Slark takes a long time to come online, and you can usually end the game before he's relevant. Please don't freeze. I beg you. Oh my fucking gosh. Okay, it looks like on my guide, I'm just going to make it 4 parts. Make it the intro, the first replay, the second replay, and the third replay. Fucking A, dude. I do consider Oracle good against Huskar. You can ulti off his disable thing. There's his disarm, but in general, yes, I do agree. I don't really think of him because I hardly ever see him, and he's not in competitive. But yeah, that's my answer to that. I guess I'm going to re-download each one of these replays right now before I go on. I'm going to be clipping this, so watch. Let's see. Delete. And then the one... there it is. I'll delete that one. Sorry about this, guys. Spectre is not good, no. Her passive that is pure, she does not attack it fast enough. You can almost always armlet toggle her. Your ultimate in all portions of the game takes off a percentage of her health, and she is a hero that builds health. So yeah, Spectre is very bad versus Huskar. You can end the game before she's relevant, and her core item of Radiance doesn't do shit. I have tried Wired, it does work. I believe it is actually a very good product if you are looking for something that can help you focus. But yeah, so I'm now continuing my part of, this is now continuing my part of the guide. So my second game here is a game where I particularly struggled as Huskar in lane. As you'll see from their picks, I pick last or fourth here, and I see that they have no physical damage. I do not consider Slark a counter, and I will go into more detail in this game. He doesn't generally come online fast enough. So a hero that's very popular in this meta is Undying. He's an offlaner, so you'll often be against him as Huskar, and he's a hero that is a little more dangerous, so I pick him fourth here. And they end up picking Necro. But, so the point being about Dirge is that he's pretty decent against Huskar in lane because he can sap your damage with Decay, and he's a pretty good dual offlaner. Almost every game I've been Huskar against an Undying, I've had a dual offlane, and that creates a lot of problems for you. But I want to show that Huskar can still be very effective simply because the enemy draft is bad versus Huskar. Even if he doesn't have a good start. And that's the point of this game. So the reason why I said Broodmother was particularly a counter pick is because, like I said, she can solo shut you down in lane. Please no. Okay. It's okay that if you get shut down by multiple heroes, because that means they're prioritizing you. What the key emphasis here is that you tell your supports to leave. In this particular scenario, I had a bounty hunter who tried to help at the start and then kind of just left me. You need to get levels as Huskar. So if you're not getting levels or farm, you're not going to do anything. But if your supports leave you, you're getting shut down by two heroes, not having a particularly good start, that's okay. So when I know I'm going to get contested in lane, or even think I might, this is my build. I go two sets of tangos, Ring of Protection because of the 1 armor to 4. If I know I'm going to get harassed, like if it's a melee offlaner, I'm not concerned about my armor because I'm not going to get hit by him, right? But if it's a dual offlane, I'm more concerned about my tankiness in that regard. So my tankiness, since against a melee offlaner, is just by having boots, I'm not actually getting hit. So then I go 3 branches. That's just to help you in the early game. You usually end up selling them anyway. I hardly ever go wand, but in this case I do because I'm getting shut down early, and it's really needed in lane. I already buy like the magic stick in lane, and I already have the 2 branches, so I kind of just value myself in. I will not be showing a game against it because I didn't have one that was in this patch, so the health bars are normal. But the only these are the 2 item builds, and the only time this varies is if you are against a bristleback, which I go 1 set of tangos, 2 rings of protection, and then fill it with branches. The reason why it changes against bristleback is he's a melee offlaner, but he only has physical damage, and it's almost always quills. So like you're not going to get harassed as much in terms of like right clicks, but you're going to get harassed a lot by quills, which is all physical. So I highly emphasize having the 2 rings of protection, and I wouldn't vary from that build ever. And some people would be like, why'd you get 2 tangos instead of a tango and a salve? As Huskar in lane, if you ever played with Troll, you'll understand how much strength it gives you if you just have an extra, 30 attack speed, 15 attack speed, whatever it is. So as Huskar, your goal is not to ideally be full health. You don't want to be full health. You want to be, like, once you hit level 2 or more because you have a point in your passive, you want to be, missing a third of your health, missing a fifth of your health, anything. And if you have a salve, that basically promotes you being aggressive down to low health and then salving back up to full. On every other hero, that makes sense. But on Huskar, I generally want it to be sustained, that I'm consistently tangoing, so I'm taking trades, and I'm always sitting in like the 25 to 75% health range. So that's why I always buy tangos and I never buy salves. And once you get an armlet, you're going to be low health anyways, so there's no point in trying to get health back with any regen. So like at that point, your tangos is only supposed to meant to last you. All your regen is only meant to last you until you get your armlet. So we're going to go and fast forward here. So we don't get the rune. I mean, we get top rune, but I don't get the rune. You know, as Huskar, try to do your best blocking. I do fail here. But the minute I see this lane, I know it's a Necro and a Dirge. So I try to get in right clicks as much as possible. I always level Flaming Spears level 1. There's really just no point in ever leveling anything else. Like, if leveling your hero to survive, I don't think it's worth it because you'll just be crippled in lane. Try to get as many right clicks off as possible. The Bounty Hunter's helping a little bit. But the crucial thing is that I'll try to get some pot shots in, but I will not be posturing position-wise nearly as aggressively. And I'll just be kind of scrapping for last hits. It's really difficult with my low base damage, plus the fact that I'm losing damage to decay. To get last hits, you will see me miss last hits in this lane. But in general, if you just notice, I'm posturing myself really far back. I buy a magic stick as soon as possible because of the dirge spam. I recognize if I'm against a spammer and I'm in a tough lane, I will buy magic stick. If I'm against a bristle, I also buy magic stick, even if it's solo v solo. But like last game against Tide, I didn't even bother, right? So it's really only if you need it. I just think any slow of your progression of armlet exponentially slows the rest of your items, even if it's only a couple hundred gold. So you'll see me miss some last hits, but I'm going to try to play aggressively. I know they can't really do much to me here. Like, like I'm not going to have a free lane, but I'm not going to, like, be able to die, you know? So I do drop pretty low here, so I do have to be careful. So I'm sitting back as far as possible. They start chasing me here. I end up surviving. That's the magic stick saving me. If I had not purchased that, I would have died. Most definitely died there. So I'm basically forced into this situation of passivity. And this is the kind of lane where I end up having like 20 or like 15 CS, I think, at like 6 minutes. Not very good. I mean, you can't really expect much when I have a Dirge taking my damage. And I hit for 45 and he hits for 73. So that's kind of expected. I'm not expecting to win this lane. But as long as I'm getting levels, it's okay. So the build stays the same in regards to skill build. It always remains the same. It never changes. That's like the thing I'm trying to emphasize about like how the game goes. People ask me how you handle poor games with certain heroes. See, like I'm missing last hits. I mean, I hit for 49. And it's really difficult under tower. One thing that I will talk about in this guide briefly right now is that, just so you know how Burning Spears works, is that the first tick of damage is actually applied instantly. So in terms of last hitting, if I have level 2, I technically, if I want a Burning Spears, I have 59 damage. In a lane like this, where I'm already taking a lot of harass, I'm very hesitant to cost myself any HP ever, so I usually don't use it, even if it means missing last hits. But in a more dominant lane, like if you're just going to miss a last hit for some reason because you know you need that extra 10 damage to get it now or you won't get it, which does happen. Just so you guys know, the first tick does happen immediately, so you can basically consider that adding 10 damage or 15 or 5, whatever level it is, to your attack. So I'm going to buy myself my magic wand here. I don't even have a slot for boots yet, and I'm not even going to be able to get to the side shop, so I just go ahead and fly myself my magic wand. When you're in a tough lane like this, I will never go for trades. Like, if the Dirge had man-upped on me earlier on in the lane, I would not have tried to fight him with level 1 spears. But the math I talked about in the first game, the level 2 spears, I mean, it's basically like 3 times as good as the level 1, right? So, like right there, you saw me, like right here, you saw me willing to take trades with this Undying. Like, he mans up on me, and I'm willing to trade with him here. Like, because I know that even if I'm trading with him right here, I know I didn't trade with him right here, but even if I'm trading right here, I know I have a tower so that he's going to be forced to back off, and I'll be able to get like 2 or 3 pot shots on him that he won't, like, that's effectively making me attack him 3 more times than he's attacking me, right? So in that kind of scenario, I'm willing to take trades, even if I'm in a tough lane like this. So I flew myself my wand, and if you notice, this is something a lot of low-level players do not do. If you're flying yourself something on the courier in this kind of lane, you'll notice that I flew myself an extra set of tangos. I already talked about the fact that my goal with this regen is to survive until armlet. So if you don't have enough regen to make it till armlet, don't be like, man, I'm screwed. I don't have enough regen. Be like, okay, I need to buy more regen to sustain till armlet. And that's just something you can't always calculate in lane, but my starting build is about as close as you can get to predicting what kind of scenario you're going to be in. Or like being able to handle what kind of scenario you're in. So always tangling up. Remaining low health if I can. So generally playing passive, but I know I have a bounty hunter here, and I think we can kill the Necro, because Necro's really weak in lane regardless. But as you can see, like, his damage doesn't really, like, they can't really kill me, right? So, like, I'm playing aggressively, and I know they don't have any stuns, so I'm willing to get low. As long as I keep tangoing up, but I'm not willing, I'm not gonna play too aggressively and die, but I'm not willing to, like, I'm not gonna play like a wimp, because if they do that, I'll just lose the lane because they get all the CS. So yeah, I have about 20 CS at 6 minutes. That's actually not horrible. So now that I'm running low on regen, I'm still hesitant. I'm hesitant to start trading with them more. So in this particular lane, I end up buying the Blades of Attack right there. That's kind of thing that you can do mid-fight as Huskar. In any hero, I highly emphasize buying the items the second you can get them. In this kind of lane, as you notice, I'm not free farming. In the other lane, I was, so I was willing to save up to get my 950 for my Helm of Iron Will, because it really helps you sustain in lane. But I bought out right here. Like, I bought out a Blade of Attack right here as I was walking into the fight. It's just, like, that was my first opportunity to go to the side shop in a while. So I basically spent my money right there. It's another precaution going into a fight, knowing if I die, hey, at least I spent my money and I don't lose anything. I might lose something here, but I believe most of my gold is reliable from the kills. But the main thing I'm trying to say is that if you don't buy your items right away, there will be times where it costs you your life or costs you a kill. So I end up dying to a DD puck counter gank. You know, start the game 1-1, 21 CS at 6.5 minutes. Not a good start by any stretch. I believe I buy another set of tangos. I'd be surprised if I don't. Yeah. So I buy myself another set of tangos, as you see. I'm not even close to an armlet. Last game I had a 5-minute armlet. This game I'm not even close. I buy myself another set of tangos because I know I'm going to need regen before I get to my armlet. I also don't even have my Helm of Iron Will yet. Like, I don't even have half my armlet, let alone an armlet. So I set up my quick buy for armlet. Usually I do that earlier, but, you know, I had been dealing with buying a magic wand and all that shit. So now my lane's opened up, even just from that small gank. Getting a little bit of space. This honestly happens naturally. It depends on what time of the game it happens, but they can't pressure you forever. If you just survive, get your levels, you'll be able to get something out of the lane eventually. Like right there, I used a Flaming Spear to get the last hit. Not really concerned about it when I'm full health. So yeah, this is how you just got to recover, and sometimes it's always different in which way you will recover. Their Slark is getting fed, but it's okay. So I immediately went and bought the Glove of Haste, as you saw. Like, the second I can get the gold, the second I go to the side shop, I buy that. Really high emphasis on immediately buying items. I have a set of tangos, so I didn't prioritize buying the Helm of Iron Will. I already have a decent, like, I already have the armor and I have the regen, so I wanted to just be able to farm as much as possible. I know I'm in lane against two people and the attack speed doesn't do all that much. But like right here, I would have just now been able to afford the Helm of Iron Will, and I wouldn't have even been able to get it. I didn't think I would die here, but I highly underestimated it. But that kind of thing where, like, I got the counter gank. Like, they spend their entire time shutting me down. This is what should happen. They spent 2 heroes shutting me down this entire time. Now your mid laner is much stronger than them. Will this always happen? No. But what I'm trying to say is if they spend 2 heroes shutting you down, your other heroes are going to be out leveling them. If you have a decent start, like, you'll be able to make a comeback. Like, when I say decent, I mean, like, this is bad, but it's still what I'd consider decent. Like, last game, like I said, I had a 5-minute armlet, and at 10 minutes, I don't even have... I'm missing it by 1,300 gold. So now I go to mid lane, because my Queen of Pain was bottom. Look for a kill. But even with just heal, I'm pretty survivable, see? Like, I don't even die, right, with passive. So I was willing to play aggressive on Disruptor. He has no stuns, no way to catch me. He's only going to glimpse me out. That's the kind of stuff I'm willing to do. And this is the kind of stuff that now, this is poverty Huskar engaged right now. When you're struggling, never hesitate to go back to the jungle without an armlet. It's still really bad, but there's no other option. If I keep going back bottom, I'm going to keep getting messed with. I I'm out of options at this point. So I start like scrapping for farm in the jungle. And this is the kind of stuff where you kite using flaming spears. Yeah, I'll take a little bit of hits here, but like if you just kite using flaming spears, yes, it's a lot slower and you will slowly kill yourself. But that's about the only option you got, right? So I go back to bottom lane after one single camp because it's pushing into my tower, and that's why I chose to go back. But every little bit of farm that you scrap for right there is what gets you to come back. Like, if you don't do that kind of stuff, you will never come back. So I end up dying, I believe, here. I thought with the heal I would be okay, but they end up killing me under my tower. And then they die for it, you know. So it's one of those that, like, they're still diving me, and they're still spending all their time shutting me down. And I'm still progressing. I know that sounds weird, but I actually gained like 400 gold in the last minute and a half. Which, for poverty Huskar, is pretty decent. So I can immediately go back to mid. There's nobody there. Always go to lanes where you can farm it. Like, top lane's pushed out, mid lane's pushed in. Go to mid lane. I'm still extremely squishy. But when a fight like this breaks out, there's about to be a fight breakout, but I'm about to do the same thing, as you see here. I'm willing to lose a little bit of health because I need to be able to farm fast. Like, I'm not kiting the creeps, and I wanted to kill them before the minute mark. So that I could finish farm another creep. Now I'll kite these because it's not the same priority. But like, he can farm camps pretty fast. He just loses his health. That's why Armlet's so good. Like right here, I don't use my flaming spears. So I just hang around mid. I've almost got my 14-minute Armlet. In fights like these, you have to understand that if you skirt on the outsides of it, you're okay. But if you go into a fight, like if I don't have an armlet, unless it's a solo disruptor, I will never dunk into a fight, all right? I will never dunk into a fight. You're just gonna die. There's really no other way to put it. So if fight breaks out, you'll see here, I kind of just skirt the outsides. Like, I don't contribute much, and nothing really happens from this fight, but this is the kind of stuff that you can do. I've given like 2 or 3 flaming spears. I've drawn their attention. We get a disruptor ulti here. Like, I mean, this is about all you can ask for out of an armlet-less Huskar. I'm trying, man. This hero doesn't do anything unless he can dunk. And if you don't have an armlet, you can't dunk. So the minute I get my armlet gold, I immediately buy it. But as you see, you're still pretty, like, decently tanky as long as you're not getting focused. When they have no physical damage, if you're not getting focused, you're extremely tanky still. So even though I did not die here, or I didn't accomplish anything, I didn't die, I was at the fight. I mean, I accomplished something. So I got my armlet, I'm willing to fight now, but Ursa dies a little bit deep. But the point being is now I've got my armlet. It is a 15-minute armlet, guys. I can't stress that enough. You think Huskar is only a snowballer? I have a 15-minute armlet. But I have declared at the start with this draft that this is a good Huskar game. So I immediately retreat to the jungle, turn on my armlet, same process as last game. Run away from the creeps as they're dying. I'm going to stack these. I believe or no, actually just kill it before it spawns, I think. Go back. Like, okay, so I got a 15-minute armlet. Let's just check this out. I'm not getting any kills. Let's see what my item progression is. But see how, this is what the lifesteal I was talking about. I want to show this. If you don't have lifesteal, like right here, it's okay, because I was higher health going into the creep wave, or creep camp. But now that I don't have lifesteal, check what I have to do at this camp. I have to actually kite the creeps, turn my helmet on, and turn back. Now, that may not seem like much. That was about probably 2-3 seconds that just cost me. But if that, you know, say that's 5 or 6 camps, suddenly that's 20 seconds you're missing, right? That's 15-20 seconds that you're missing from item choices. So, like, there's more things that help that Morbid Mask offers you, but it's also the fact, like, that it prevents you from doing stupid shit like killing yourself on neutral creeps. But this is the kind of stuff where if you're not farming at this low health and being this efficient, you're not actually using Huskar. So I'd much rather you try to do this kind of shit and die to neutrals like an idiot, like I have on stream, and learn from it. That's the best way to learn. So this game in particular, I go treads because I'm behind. If I'm ahead, I'll go morbid for the farm speed, but treads are better for tankiness. They're actually better for tower pushing, so I'll go treads. So like right here, I'm playing life on the line, right? And that's the kind of stuff you just have to do. You have to be comfortable doing it. It's your only option to farm fast as Huskar, especially when I'm behind. So, you know, I went from 15-minute armlet, suddenly I have 17-minute treads. That's 950 gold in 2 minutes. That is not bad. So now I look for kills with my armlet, get a kill. One thing to say against Dirge in the mid game especially, if it's not gonna kill you, like don't walk back into the fight to die for it. But you do a lot of structural damage, and the tombstone counts as a tower, and you don't die to zombies or dirge. So I highly emphasize that if you are a Huskar against a dirge, you almost always try to focus the tombstone. It's not going to happen here, but you'll see it later on that I prioritize the tombstone because it's going to screw over your teammates a lot if you don't. Right here, so this is the kind of stupid deaths that you have as Huskar. This is the kind of stuff you have to accept. So like right here, I was concerned about the zombies and the right click from the dirge. So I toggle off. I toggle my arm mode off and I toggle it back on. This is the kind of stupid shit that kills you, alright? Look at what kills me if you watch it in super slow-mo. Look what kills me. This is how you die as Huskar, and this is why it's really important to get your items up. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. You're going to see what kills me here. It's pretty funny. So I'm worried about the dirge. I know he's not going to right-click me here, so I toggle. Right here I toggle. This range creep attack kills me. This range creep right here attacked killed me. That's the kind of stupid shit that happens sometimes. And if I had higher armor, like I'm telling you, if I had a Helm of the Dominator, I promise you that doesn't kill me. Just from experience. You don't die to creeps once you get that armor up. But that's the kind of stuff that, like, that's why I emphasize, like, don't go any other items. Like, don't rush a blink after armlet treads. Like, go all armor. Like, that's all you need. It makes it so you don't die to creeps, you don't die to towers, you don't die to people that don't right-click. Like, you'll never die to stupid shit. And that's, like, I know that sounds retarded. Like, you'd be like, hey, like, you know, if you weren't bad, you wouldn't die to stupid shit. I'm telling you right now, in the mid-game, half your deaths are to stupid shit as Huskar. No matter how good at this hero you get. It's all stupid shit, man. So back to farming I go. Efficiency, stack camps, leave my element on, auto, leaving this on. Same skill build as last time. I see a fight going on. I'm willing to show up. As long as you are not the focus of attention getting 5-man ganked against this kind of lineup, you really should not die. Unless it is to stupid shit. So we take a good fight. I continue to farm their jungle. I'll farm really aggressively. Now this is the kind of shit that I do on Huskar that like people don't, well, like people will just never do. Like you'll see like people, like professional players do it on other heroes that they're more comfortable on. But so for instance, I know 3 of them are dead. We're going to tower push, but by the time with this creep wave here, that they're going to, so we'll just free camera. You see this creep wave. Oh my god, can I really not? Okay, so we're going to try this here. With the creep wave where it's at, we're not going to be able to push this tower before they're up, right? So instead, I force the glyph. See how I walk into the tower? I don't mind taking it. I'm going to force the glyph here. Now I back off. And so when they're up, now they have no fort. They may not seem like a big difference, but if you've ever died trying to finish a tower when they have fort, that basically explains that enough to you. That's the kind of stuff you can do as Huskar. So this just shows in the mid-game. I'm a really underfarmed Huskar, and they're chasing after me. Right? You just got to know when you're invincible. I armlet toggle. I get a heal off when I can. I believe I heal. Yeah, there you go. And then I make it my mission to focus this tombstone. Because I do a lot of damage. But I'm basically invincible. Maybe like, oh, you know, like this is a Huskar that has no farm. And yeah, they have no physical damage. So I do not die. Yes, clutch armor toggles will be important. I did have a clutch one over here, but the emphasis is that they tried to go on me, and they couldn't kill me. So same story as last time. It's obviously like 9 minutes behind or so, but you know, get a good fight. Roche isn't quite up yet, so we're gonna take mid tower here, force out a glyph. I'm willing to tank the tower as long as I have heal on. I'm emphasizing again, I'm under tower and I'm in vision, so they can go on me. I'm gonna have my heal on. Same build. Build does not change just because the game sucks. I did add a magic wand. That was the one change. So we forced the glyph, back off, took a good fight. Back to farming I go. I healed up just in case the Slark went on me with a Shadow Blade. I didn't know where he was. But now that I saw him bottom, I wasn't concerned. I probably did that. Like, that was probably a waste. So I keep farming here. Same items. Oops. Go back to base because mana is really important on Huskar. The only time I really won't go back to base is if I'm snowballing or I have an Aegis. If I'm snowballing, I don't need the heal to live. If I'm not, then the heal's like of the utmost importance. Like, I just have no fear. I don't care about farming in front of their faces here. As long as I know I have someone on my team even remotely in distance to help me, I'm not concerned. It's like I heal, as you see here. Same thing. I have my quap behind me to back me up. I focus Tombstone because I know that's important for me to do. They can't kill me. Like, it doesn't matter how far behind I was. I have 24 armor as Huskar at 24 minutes. It's still pretty good. I may not do nearly as much damage, but they spent all their time shutting me down. And if your teammates aren't retarded, then they'll punish them for this. So that dunk right there may not seem that important, but they're all dead, right? They're all dead. All of them. He's already Shadow Bladed. I dunk him here, and I force out his ultimate. On a hero like Slark, like, it's different on every hero, right? But on a hero like Slark, he can't fight me now. He has no ult. Can't fight me. So that was a huge deal. Now we can push this tower. I'm like, guys, let's push this tower. Slark has no ult. That guy is unable to fight us entirely. This is 24 minutes in. I was 1-4, I think. I think I was 1-4. Oh, we are now taking their racks. I am our, like, Quap doesn't do any physical damage. Neither does Bounty Hunter. I am our only physical damage dealer with an armlet. And we are taking their buildings. To those who say Huskar is not a pusher, they are full of shit. We take a 24-minute racks off of it. As a Huskar that was behind. When you are behind as Huskar, you will hardly ever dunk in. If everyone's alive, you will never dunk in. The only time I'll ever dunk to go on a guy is if he's like right next to me and I'm just doing it for damage. Always hesitate to dunk heroes that have mobility, because if they mobile like a Storm Spear, you dunk him and he ball lightnings back into his tower and chase after his team. Then you just, like, you know, rip. You're gonna fall and you're gonna get, like, the only way you die as Huskar is if you get isolated. And that's, like, the important thing to note, is that with your dunk, if misplayed, you can get isolated. So this game kind of speaks for itself. We take Aegis, go bottom, rinse and repeat. I'm unkillable. That's basically wanted to show you the effectiveness of Huskar. Same items, same build with a shitty lane. With recovery farm, you can make a lot happen. I went from 15 minutes of Brown Boots armlet to 25 minutes. So 10 minutes later, I got a 5k gold item plus a helm. So 7k plus 900. I got a 800 gold per minute in that 10 minutes. So that's that game. These guides will be up on YouTube. They will be divided into games. The first game was a snowballing game where I was against a melee offlaner, which is going to happen a lot when you're against a solo melee offlaner. The second game was that game, and all the builds are described in depth. I will be dividing it simply not only because they're different games with different purposes, but yeah, because of the fact that my replays have cut out every single time. And it's really choppy to put that on YouTube. So I'm going to be dividing this guide into 4 parts, the intro, and then each of these 3 replays. So the last replay, which I thought, you know, maybe people would doubt that that Huskar has no competitive application. Yeah, Slark changed his name to Why Is My Team So Trash? I'm not even going to comment on that one, though. So once this replay is for sure working, then I will start talking, because I don't feel like repeating everything twice. Again. But yeah, for people who doubt that this will work in competitive, this is Mouse Sports, as you all know them as Team Tinker. Very solid team. This is nobody. This is not a nobody. So sorry about my subscription alerts are not on, because my subscription alerts are not on. Silver King, thank you for the subscription, man. But they're not on because this is going on YouTube. So yeah, this was for my last match with Summer's Rift. You know, RIP, but whatever. Oh, ignore these bans. This was a remake. So I'm going to quickly talk about the draft. This kind of sucks that I can't show the draft as it actually happened. But I'm going to tell you basically what happened. So we're going to ignore all the bans. Their first round was Zeus Gyro. Right off the bat, I'm thinking that's a pretty good Huskar game. These were our first round picks right here as well. But so the first round, it's kind of like you know immediately if you're not, because usually heroes like Queen of Pain are immediate no-nos, like you just don't pick him ever. But like I think Queen of Pain was banned, Lena was banned. I'm 100% sure they were banned because we did pick Huskar 4th. I am 100% sure we picked Huskar 4th because I remember they needed a support. Their last pick was Dazzle, but the reason we picked Huskar 4th is we had, so they only have one pick after us. We were, second pick in this. We are first pick, which makes us second pick in the later rounds. So they picked Clockwork after picking Lion, Zeus, and Gyro. All magic damage. They do have stuns, but they're all magic damage. And then put the icing on the cake, they picked Clockwork. The best time to pick Huskar if you are on a team is when they have a solo offlane melee hero like Clockwork, Tidehunter, Timbersaw. Those are the first ones that come to mind. Spearbreaker can be solo, but he's usually dual lane. But if they have something like that, that is the best time to pick Huskar. So that, on top of those three, was picking Huskar 4th. We knew they needed a support, so my team, thank God, listened to me this time, and it doesn't show here because this is a remake, but we had to reload the game. But I said pick Huskar. Lina and Quap were already banned. They needed a support, and the only support in the pool that countered me was Ancient Apparition. So we banned Ancient Apparition 5th. Obviously, you can't see that, but we picked Huskar, banned Ancient Apparition, and then it's set up for a beautiful Huskar game. So let's show how beautiful of a Huskar game can apply in competitive. Now, the real deal about Huskar is, let's just be straight. It doesn't, having defensive supports on his team is nice. Having stuff like Venge to swap him out, having stuff like Dazzle to shallow grave him, that's a bonus. But if you want a good Huskar game, it actually doesn't matter who your team is. Your team doesn't matter. It's all about the other team. Is it good now? They're trying it. It's a remake. So the reason why I went this build is because I actually thought that they would solo the Clockwork bottom and then aggro with Dazzle, Lion, Gyro versus me. I don't want to screw myself over, but my competitive season's over for the next 2 or 3 months until TI, so doesn't really matter if I give away Huskar and how to play against him in competitive. But yeah, he's really weak early on, as I've stressed multiple times, so I really thought they would aggro tri-lane me because they would certainly win that. So I built accordingly, and I'm willing to build. This was the same build as I built last game. I skipped a branch. It's really that's just up to you. This game in particular, I wasn't sure, so I kind of went in between. I was like, I want a little bit quicker boots if I don't have an aggro tri-lane, but if it is an aggro tri-lane, I want the other build. If you buy boots and it's an aggro tri, I'm kind of just fucked, right? There's really not much else to put about it. The boots, without being able to be aggressive, really cost you. So in this particular game, the laning stage is very similar. There's really not much to show from the laning stage. I get basically a free farm lane, but this is what happens when a pro player is in the game, like Bulba. I will, as you see, aggressive posturing. This is something I want to emphasize, though. This is the one thing I wanted people to learn from this game here, from the laning stage. This is something that people don't think about at low levels. Every time I would coach people, this was something they clearly didn't understand because they were never doing it. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm going to do this, and I'm going to explain it here. So my lane got denied such that the range creep on my end died. Now they have 2 range creeps, and it's pushing towards my tower, and I only have 1 range creep. So right here, you'll see, I immediately prioritize attacking their range creep with flaming spears and pushing the lane. So there's 5 reasons why you do this, but I'm going to name the main ones that are easy to explain. If the lane goes into your tower as a hero like Huskar, you will tank a lot of unnecessary harass, and this build that I have for you is highly based on efficiency. So you will tank more harass than you should otherwise, and you will run out of regen. If the creep waves start to have to go into your tower, you're a low health or low armor hero that's ranged, so you can't buy a stout. You have no way to tank creeps, so first off, there's that. Also, lasting under tower is a real fucking drag when you have 48 damage. Secondly, these are the 2 most important things, is that if you are Huskar, like I said, it is very important for you to posture aggressively, right? Like I said, for you to play aggressively, harass with flaming spears. And you can't do this if your creep wave is dying. Okay, I don't know what else to say. Say I posture aggressively right here, and I start attacking him, and they have 2 range creeps, and my creep wave is now dying super fast, even if I'm not aggroing, and my creep wave dies, I've now traded, say I get 3 right clicks off. I walk back into my lane, and there's now 5 enemy creeps here, none of my enemy creeps, and I start tanking all these creeps. That's the best way I can explain it. So if if the creep wave is pushing too hard towards you, you'll actually not be able to be aggressive. As weird as that sounds, he will still not get any farm, meaning like he won't be able to get last hits, because if he walks up, you'll be able to right click him right here. But like it's the difference between zoning him out of XP range and not. Like that's the difference. So I highly emphasize that. That is the biggest thing you learn from laning this game. We're gonna go back to me. That is something that applies on all heroes, but particular heroes like Huskar that can't tank. Right there, I missed the last hit because I was focused on trying to help him. No excuses, just what happens. So now, this is what you want. You don't want a lane pushing, and you don't want a lane pulling back. You want the lane perfectly equilibrium. This is the kind of stuff that pro players do, though. The lane is back here for like 10 seconds, and he pulls our creep wave. So he fucks with us a little bit, but in the end, it's not that big of a deal. You know, just clean up the last hits as much as possible for people who don't know mechanics. We look to be aggressive on him because he's pulling the creeps. But if neutral creeps kill their creeps, you get 0 XP. It's not like getting a deny. You actually get 0. Vision fucked me there on that last hit. But yeah, so we pull the lane back in. It's going to push towards us again, so I start auto-attacking it as much as possible. Like right here. I know those one little auto-attacks may not seem like much, but it does make a difference. Immediately try to play aggressive, but see how there's creeps there and now I can't be aggressive? That's just like a small version of what would happen. Like, it snowballs quickly. If you leave those range creeps up, it will go wrong very quickly. Like right here, like I'm trying to make it so it doesn't pull back too fast. See how I'm tanking harass? But at this point I have a lot of tangos. I haven't been really eating harass, but if you're in a lane that's already rough, that's like just going to make it worse. See how I prioritize auto-attacking their range creep right there? That's like that's the lane equilibrium dynamic that it comes with when you have like a support, you know. I have missed a decent amount of last hits. That's something you're like, I'm really off or on with Huskar. It's just something you kind of have to fight through as a hero with low base damage, and his attack animation is decent and all, but it's actually pretty bad in my opinion. So this is the laning stage. So what you're gonna quickly see here, I'm gonna quickly look at my notes. Oh. No, I'm not going to worry about it. It's not something to do with Huskar. But okay, yeah. So something I'm going to emphasize that's coming into this game ahead of time, like spoiler alert. We start this game at a major deficit. Not in the lanes, but as you see here, it's 2-0. And it quickly starts snowballing. It is now 3-0 in kills. To spoiler alert, it eventually is 9-0. I've already said about Huskar, like, if there's nobody in your lane, a lot of heroes you'll want to push the tower if you have, like, a support to pull for you. But I've already emphasized he's weak early on. He's very weak. Not 1v1, but if he gets ganked, he's weak. So pushing towers leaves you vulnerable. So I highly try to keep as much, like, there's a catapult, so it's pushing the lane, but I try to keep the lane as stable as possible and just free farm it. The goal is to get to armlet safely. That is all you need to do. That is the purpose of the lane, is to get to armlet. So right here is something you can do. A lot of people don't do, but the lane's pushing in. Can't really help that. I don't have a support, so I now pull this big camp into my creep wave here. I do that. This is a common rotation I do on stream. I walk up and start A-clicking these creeps, or like start killing these creeps as much as possible, such that I can go contest the clockwork as soon as possible if he does decide to start like trying to get the XP over here. Like, I'm sure he knows it's been pulled. But, like, if I wasn't doing this and I retreated to my tower and, say, Clockwork tried to start taking all that CS, I couldn't contest him. And if he tried to fuck with Coddle, I couldn't contest him. So right here, immediately start denying the creep. Demon kind of fucked me there by pushing the creep camp. Duck Feeman. So back to the lane as usual. Go ahead and fast forward a bit here. We are now down 3-0. As I've already said, I think, I'm not sure, we will be down 9-0. This is about an average timing for armlet if I don't start with boots. About 7-8 minutes with a decent lane, no kills. Immediately, start using my flaming spears on auto attack. Start doing creep camps. Like, you'll notice right here, I went from full health to 0 just doing one camp. And that's going to happen. So you don't try to regen yourself anymore. Like, that's not your priority anymore. I was worried that they were ganking me, so I sat back.
I'm not farming down to no health with Armlet because I am concerned about being ganked. This is something I'm much more worried about in competitive. And they also have a Zeus, and I do not have max passive. So like right now I have 69% magic resistance. Kappa. That was not planned. But the point being is you will see it here. We're down 5-0. But I'm almost considering in this kind of game only going 2-point spears to have max passive at 8 because 8 is a very long level and experience, and it's only because they have a Zeus. You will see in the near future I die to Zeus. I know they have no Zeus ultimate, so I'm not concerned about dying at low or farming at low health here. Yeah, same concept. The thing about Huskar and competitive, and the application of Huskar and competitive, is kind of like Drow. The minute you treat his armlet like 6, I already talked about this, like in terms of treating it like 6 for pushing towers and shit, but the whole idea is that you can rotate out of lane and your supports can take lane. So it's like really nice for getting your supports levels. So like you don't need to be in lane anymore. So now I'm just going to start farming the jungle really fast while my Witch Doctor takes XP top. And you can still be ready to help your team. So like right here, I'm fine with using Flaming Spears. I have an armlet. But yeah, really fast farming on this hero. I decided to go treads. I think I end up dying here to Zeus ultimate. I end up healing myself because I'm concerned about Zeus ult. I believe it is right here that I die to Zeus ult. I'm only doing all this stuff that I'm doing right now because of Zeus ult. And I'm really scared. And I literally was looking mid and died to Zeus ult right there. I wasn't armlet toggling because I was looking mid and I died to Zeus ult. So that's kind of the difference between level 3 passive and level 4 passive. So the way I checked what my magic resistance was is if you're dead on Huskar, it treats it as like your 0 health. So you have all your stacks, right? Like when you're dead, you can check this. Why is it not letting me check it? I have 87 magic resist, yeah. And if I have magic or level 4 passive, it's 98 or 99. Either way, the difference is astronomical at no health. Stuff like Zeus ulti will no longer kill you. Stuff like Lion Finger will never kill you. So that's why I highly prioritize maxing this over Flaming Spears, even though I get the 3 points in it. This game I might have even like gone back and looked and thought maybe I should get 2 points, because I wouldn't have died there. Because of level 8, because level 8 is such a long level. So yeah, back to normal things. We are down 9-0, and we are down about 7.5k gold and 5k XP. And you're about to see why having a good Huskar game is pretty strong. So same idea, I'm not concerned about dying to Zeus ulti anymore. The only way you can die to Zeus ulti and stuff like that when you have level 4 passive is if you actually toggle the second that they ult. So like if they don't ult the second you toggle, your Nate regen from Armlet will be enough to keep you alive. But it has to be the split second, and it has happened to me. See, like right there, I mean, I didn't die. Like I was no health. So we are now down 11-1. Buy my lifesteal up. Just continue farming. We're looking to defend our tower top. Rotate through the jungle. This is something I wouldn't be concerned about defending nearly as much if I wasn't uncompetitive. I would just be farming jungle. In competitive, I'm worried much more about the team than in pubs. In pubs, I'm mostly looking out for myself. Because you can't rely on your team, really. Sometimes your team will pull through, but if you rely on your team, you will not overall gain MMR or do better. So back to the jungle I go. Always low health. Utilizing Armlet to farm. Same skill build. Same build, item-wise. The only thing that really varies is in my build ever is what order I build the Armlet components in, and if I build Helm or Treads first. Same thing here, just getting my farm up. It's really important, even in a game where we're down, to just focus on farm and get your items. Same thing here, we're looking to defend the tower as a team, though. We've grouped up. We can now push their tier 1, I believe. Actually, we believe we see no one. Okay, I believe we talked about the fact that we're trying to farm up our items and then take Roche. So we're now smoking. I get my helm. That's really crucial towards Roche. That extra armor and 20 damage makes it go a lot faster, and I got a wolf, which is really nice. So I'm leaving my treads on int because I'm ready to heal myself if we get into an engagement here. Go into the Roche pit. Same concept here. As I talked about, if you toggle correctly, you'll never die, but you can also have a creep See this? You just toggle when he walks away. So if they came and contested us here, it would be okay. Like, they don't know about it, but if they contested us, we are behind. But this is what happens with Huskar. It is now 12 minutes in. We have a Roche. We are down 12-1, okay? We are down 12-1. And trust me, just knowing Huskar, I was like, okay, guys, let's go push mid. Like, we have an Aegis. Doesn't matter, we're down 12-1. I believe we have a mech on Shadow Fiend. Yep. Time to push. Down 12-1. So this is the kind of stuff with Huskar where if you get the Aegis and they contest you, this is what happens. Alright? Straight up. So I heal myself while I'm in vision, 100%. Change tower aggro off of me, at least I should. I don't, I guess. I'm bad. I should have definitely changed it off. Get a good toggle in. Kill black from full to 0. Heal myself. I'm taking tower this entire time. I am weaved. Black dies to my flaming spears in the base. I kill 2. I die under tower after that whole time. Look how tanky I am. This is 17 minutes in. Got a triple kill. Killing spree. Take tower. All we lost was Aegis and a Witch Doctor. And that's what happens if they contest you. I'm telling you right now. That's what happens. Like, this isn't a fluke. I can't show you guys a billion games for the sake of the guide. So suddenly, 2k gold. Same build. Not concerned about disables, I'm just concerned about right clicks. They have no heavy right clickers. If I have enough armor, I simply won't die as long as I get my heal off. The crucial part there is as long as I get my heal off. So now my team's farming our side of the map while I'm farming theirs. I'm playing aggressively. I am the tanky hero. I am the survivable hero. I take their farm. Same idea. Let the creeps die from your flaming spears. That extra second and a half every time adds up. Went the Hyperstone first just for the farming speed, honestly. Because we already just took the major fight. I wasn't concerned about us fighting. But this is the same thing. If you remember what I did last game with the tower mid. They weren't ready to defend, right? So here I am. Pushing their tower. They're not ready for you to do this. They're just not ready. They're top. They have Dazzle mid. They have 2 top. They're not ready to 5-man TP. They can't 5-man TP. They're not set up. So I got my heal off. And now I'm getting ganked by a Gyro. Who does all magic damage. Look at what the heal does. Look how important that is. And I just don't die. Pretty easy. Make sure I got my heal off again in case they were all trying to kill me and I knew I was getting stunned. And now we're up for a push as a team that has no glyph wherever we go. It doesn't even have to be that tower. Like right now we didn't even go to their tower. So the reason why we didn't do the tower is because we have an ancient stack. But that's something that's really important as Huskar. Is like if they're not set up, you can take almost the entire tower while tanking the tower. As long as you have your heal on. So here I heal myself so I can take the Ancients without having to actually kite them. That's something you can also do with Ancient stacks. But yeah, pretty fast Ancient stack. Like, you can't deny how fast this hero can farm with the right build, the right mindset. A lot of people just don't understand. It's not like a straightforward farming speed like most other heroes. So now we take that tower, no glyph. It's hard to calculate that kind of stuff, but I'm sure they didn't contest us because they didn't have glyph. But, I mean, same idea. Going into their base. Taking tower, I don't really care. Keep my creep wave alive. I believe Coddle has an Ags now? Yeah, he does. Coddle Ags is a pretty big deal. But yeah, so I'm taking the tower. We're taking their tier 2. We're down 13-5. We're not winning in the slightest. We're down 5k. Force their reactions back. As you can see, they're all TPing. We don't know this, though. So instead of worrying about the creep wave, I walk up on the high ground. Start hitting the tower. Dragon Fist sits back. He's actually too far forward, but doesn't matter. He's only my teammate for 4 days. We force out a glyph. That's really important. We are now back. Going with the next creep wave, but then we decide to back up because our lanes are pushing in. Farm the map. We are in no rush. Even if we are behind, and you may say they have better late game. I have a full Soul Cuirass done at 22 minutes. It's pretty solid. Pushing out lanes, so we're in no rush. This is the biggest thing, though. Okay, I'm not gonna make excuses, but I am. Basically, is what I'm gonna say to this. I just want to push out lanes, and Demon recalls me into this fight that I didn't want to be a part of. Could I have just not gone in? Yes, but I thought it was a decent fight, and there's 5 on me, and this is what happens as Huskar. If you're getting 5-man focused, even if they have no right-click damage, you will die. I'm just perma-stunned, and I died. But look how long it took them to kill me. And my point is as long as you're not a dumbass, and it's important to improve and point out mistakes. I went into 5-man, got perma-stunned, focused by everybody, and I died. And you saw how long it took. And that's the kind of stupid fights that you have to avoid taking as Huskar. I actually didn't want to take that fight, but I did willingly jump in, so I'll take part of the blame. I figured if he recalled me, there wouldn't be 5 people there. So I am dead. No fear, we are only down 16-5, but it is a good Huskar game, people. So back to farming. We are in no rush, I emphasize that, but I guess we were in a rush. I took the movement speed creep because it was there. Take tower, willing to take it. If I'm concerned about them coming, I'm not going to be willing to tank it because if they initiate on me while I'm tanking it, that is not ideal. I will be talking more about this later. Set up ourselves for the next Roche. I hang out around the Roche pit. I am now farming this area because we're setting up for Roche. We're waiting for it. We have Beastmaster Hawk. We know it's up now. It just got up. Take Roche. I don't know why I didn't stop fast forwarding there. I was trying to. But this is what I mean. You can't contest Huskar and Roche, man. You just can't. So they know we're rushing. They've been timing it. They're a professional team. They're good. I got a fortunate DD rune. I'm finishing Roche. I'm prioritizing that. It's so low. I'm going to make sure I finish it. We end up killing 2 of them, losing a Witch Doctor, TPing out on top of me right here. That's not ideal. I probably could have chased the other way, but that's one of those, like, you know, hindsight 2020s. I did kill the lion by going that way. I am not Dazzle ultied, but this is for some reason a glitch in the replay, or in replays in general. Here we go, back down to bottom. Rinse and repeat. Took a Roche, same thing. I am going BKB this game because of the Silver Edge and the fact that they have a lion. They just have a lot of disable, they have a blade mail. In general, I just don't want to. I want to be. I'm basically invincible with a BKB this game. I have enough armor. As is. I mean, I have, without Dazzle ulting me, I have like 36 armor with Mech and Ring of Aquila added on. So here I am, Huskar, frontline taking it. This is how you approach pushes. You just hit the tower while your team sits behind you. They initiate on you eventually because they think it's a good idea. I was trying to heal, but was fucking up my tread switch, I think. I am willing to go in now. I Flaming Spear him to make sure he dies after the grave is over. Back off. They keep trying to kill me. I am a machine. They have still focused everything on me. You have to remember, Silver Edge is an expensive item that he has to come up on top of you and hit you with a Silver Edge. So if you're 5-manning, that's a lot easier said than done. So we took a good fight. They bought back. We back up. We're going to get our items up. I believe Dragon Fist almost has a BKB. Okay, he just got his BKB as well. I don't want his perspective. Got a wolf. In most cases, I'd go back to base, but I do have a coddle. So, yeah, we're in no major rush with this Aegis. Like I said, no rush. We were behind in this game, so like in the game where we were snowballing, that would have been the end of the game. They would have had no chance to hold the high ground. Because it would have happened earlier. They wouldn't have had like a Silver Edge, Gyro. They just wouldn't have the items they need to defend there. And that's really the only difference. Like, it just delays the timing when you're losing. So right here, I'm just a man. I don't even care that my team's all the way back here. I just know they can't really kill me. I know they have a Silver Edge, but they'd have to blow a lot on me, and I have an Aegis. If I didn't have an Aegis, I wouldn't be postured this aggressively. Just a pause. I am not actually BKB'd. Do not know why that is happening. So, positioning the wolf so it doesn't die to nukes. Continue our base push. Heal myself again. They got the Silver Edge off. I almost die in a team comp. I mean, this is really what it comes down to. In team competitive play, If they didn't have a Silver Edge, I wouldn't have been nearly as concerned. But since they have a Silver Edge, I'm going to make sure I'm sitting at a decent enough health to not just be killed instantly. So, you know, I got Silver Edged, I get nuked, I get 4-staffed out, and boom, I'm safe. They try to Zeus ulti, it's not enough. They just blew everything on me, trying to kill me there. I had Aegis, blew everything on me. Key thing to note, BKB purges Silver Edge, as well as Huskar ultimate. I will be talking about Huskar's ultimate in detail at the end of this game. So we take first base. We're down 18-9 in kills, guys. We're down 18-9. Take that. Take 2 sets of racks. First BKB, I actually BKB'd there. Got Aegis is down. So in the duration of our second Aegis, which was delayed, just like I talked about, because we were losing, we took 2 sets of racks. So the last fight's coming top. Gonna go and fast forward. We don't even need to wait for Aegis. I have a full Satanic. Managed to get a pick off, got recalled. Nice mobility around the map with Coddle. It's really good synergy with Huskar. Blinding Light keeps him alive. Mana, mobility. I don't know why I didn't stop fast forwarding like I tried. So here's what happens. Silver Edge is an all-in gamble, alright? It's a 5k gold item on most heroes, which is not ideal. When Huskar is like a full AC comparatively, like to benefit his team, they go on me and blow everything here. It's a gamble. They have to kill me in the 4 seconds that it's on. So they managed to get the disable off. I am down to 0 health. I BKB right in time. And now they have nothing. That was perfect scenario for them. So same thing, make sure he dies to Flaming Spears when he's Shallow Graved. Really good counter to Dazzle, actually. So here's another way to counter Silver Edge. So you're gonna watch Black Silver Edge me here. This is pretty tough. I mean, just focus here. Make sure you catch how good of an item Silver Edge is, Kappa. Oh god, he got the Silver Edge off. Not the Silver Edge. Oh, I dunked him. Okay, it's off. Phew. Close call. Okay, we're good. And GG. So the last thing I'm going to talk about with Huskar after this replay, this just shows if it's a good Huskar game, you win in the draft. You just win if you play it properly. The most important thing to show as Huskar, or like to talk about as Huskar, is on top of everything I've already mentioned. So we're going to highlight the things. The skill build. Max passive after 3 points in spear, 1 point in heal at 4. Leave ultimate at level 1 until you've maxed everything else. Your magic resistance is 87% in no health with level 3 passive, and it is 99% at level 4 passive, which is really important. Drastic percentage difference. And then your ultimate, so let's talk about his ultimate. A lot of people don't understand. You are not invulnerable during your ultimate, but you are spell immune. So treat it like your ultimate is like a 1 second long BKB, and that everything that applies to a BKB applies to your ultimate. What I mean by that is, so if you're stunned by Crystal Maiden, like with her frostbite, and you pop a BKB, you immediately purge it, right? Like you're no longer stunned by Crystal Maiden. Same thing with Huskar. Same thing with Treant Protector ultimate. Same thing with let's see, Silver Edge, Blinding Light by Coddle, Mischance Laser by Tinker. Whatever you can think of that is purged by BKB is purged by his ultimate. So that's something you have to keep in mind. And like, so say they only have one thing that's purgeable on their team, and like one game I played a pub game against, their only stun was a Crystal Maiden. So like I just waited I waited to use my ultimate until she stunned. Like I just waited, and then the minute she stunned, I couldn't do it and or they couldn't stun me, and I was just unkillable. So the item choice wise on Huskar, I almost always go Treads, Armlet Helm, AC. The times where it is different, I will go Halberd if they have like the single right clicker, as I talked about with something like Juggernaut or Troll Warlord or Ursa. But after that, your item choices really come down to this. The question about BKB is answered simply put. If I am stunned for 10 seconds, can I die? And on top of that, do they have anything that stops me from right-clicking? I don't care about silences. I don't care about disables. The only silence that is an issue is Night Stalker Mischance, because it casts on you and then he just ignores you. It is such a long duration, it's basically permanently up. Night Stalker is the one exception because you have to build a BKB for that silence alone. Disruptor, stuff like that. Like if they're not stopping you from attacking or can't stop you from ulting, meaning like, you know, even though Crystal Maiden Frostbite stops you from attacking, it doesn't stop you from ulting, so you can just ulti out of it, then there's no reason to buy a BKB. Your point is to be the frontline tank, and your priority should just be like aura items and Satanic. Like if you're able to attack at all times and you have an AC Satanic, there ain't shit that's gonna kill you. In the late game, stuff like Tinker for Permasheep, stuff like Halberd builders, yeah, you can build BKB. But the thing about it is, if they have a Halberd, you can just wait until they Halberd you and then ultimate, and then you are no longer Halberded. So that's something that you have to keep in mind when itemizing Huskar. I'm going to repeat myself slightly here that I did towards the beginning of the guide. But items that specifically you never build on Huskar ever. Okay, let's talk about those. So you never build. We're talking about big items. Like I'm just gonna go through even the ones that wouldn't seem obvious. All right, like you might like that people be like, oh, you're like that would seem obvious that you never build. Never build drums. Never build medallion or solar crest. Vlad's is debatable. I still haven't experimented with that, but I still wouldn't go with it. Guardian Greaves are highly situational. I think that Treads AC just offers much more damage and are better. Never build Refresher. Ags is only a 5th or 6th item late game. Only. Ever. I repeat, ever. Orchid, never. Rod of Atos, never. Yule Scepter, never. Dagon, never. I was dicking around in my games on Light Bull Lane. I built a Dagon. It's really fun. If you want to have some fun, Dagon plus Ag Scepter is hilarious. But yeah, that's about all. Necrobook, never. Veil, I've debated with. I still need to experiment with it, but I don't think it's as good as my current build because it offers no right-click damage to you, and I think you already do enough magic. Force Staff, the only time I will ever build a Force Staff is when I'm against Ancient Apparition because it's the only way you can reliably dodge his ultimate. And if I'm against Ancient Apparition, I already want to commit suicide. So, otherwise, never build that item. Never build Glimmer Cape, don't have the mana. Never build Crystallis, you don't need the damage. You are a low damage healer every freaking game. Never. If you want to dick around, but otherwise never. Never. Ghost Scepter, where's Ghost Scepter? Sometimes I'll upgrade it into an 8th Blade late game, but Ghost Scepter is highly situational, but it's like one of those where it's usually 99% of the time very bad, but the other 1% is very good. Against heroes like Juggernaut, where they have immediate burst damage, against Ursa, it's very good, because Ursa will like go on you with his ultimate, and then like for the duration of his ultimate, you Ghost Scepter. Heroes like that like have like one set of physical burst, it's really good against, for 2 reasons. Because of the fact that they have one set of physical burst, and then you're willing to man up on them, on top of the fact that Ghost Scepter, I don't know if you guys, for how many people know this, but Ghost Scepter is removed by BKB, so also it is removed by Huskar Ultimate. So you can actually, even though it's a 4-second duration and you're a hero that completely relies on right-clicking, you can actually control when the duration ends by ulting somebody. So like you can Ghost Scepter, say an Ursa goes on you, like half his duration ultimate, you Ghost Scepter for the last 2 seconds of it, and then you want to go on him, then you can like you popped your Ghost Scepter and you have 2 seconds left on your Ghost, but then you ult. The 40% magic damage is buffed, works as if you take 2% magic damage, that 40% now makes it 2.8%. It doesn't make it like 42%. So like if you're wondering about that, Ghost Scepter, you're still basically immune to magic damage. You're basically immune to all damage except for Pure. Never built Crimson Guard, never built Manta, never built Bloodstone. I think AC is better than Shiva's. Lincoln's isn't really an item unless they have like a Doom, something that you can block with BKB plus Lincoln's. Heart, never. The most often built wrong item on Huskar. You don't want full health. Why would you want the regen? You're a hero that's completely based on being low health, and being low health is all percentage based, so why would you want more health? Satanic's just better. Mjolnir, late game, like 5th or 6th item versus PL is the only time you'll build it, maybe against a Naga. Illusion heroes, basically. Scotty, never. Sanjin Yasha, never. Halberd's just better. You have to think of items that are about the same cost or same components. Halberd's just better than Sanjin Yasha. I built Sanjin Yasha when I'm dicking around, but that's about it. Deso, never. Diffusal, never. If they aren't getting right-click by you, you can just ignore them and hit the tower. Who cares about Ghost Scepters? Your ultimate also does a shit ton of damage when they Ghost Scepter. Mask of Madness, never. Helm is just better. Butterfly, never. I'd rather have a Halberd for the evasion. The strength synergizes with your first ability because your heal is based on your strength. Overall, those are all of the item builds for Huskar. I've talked about very specific scenarios with very specific heroes. I believe I have hit all of my points. The one thing I'm going to reemphasize again is that BKB is only when they can stop you from attacking. Like, that's the only time you build it. If they can't stop you from attacking for longer than a couple seconds, eventually you will be able to attack them even if you are silenced. And if you have like AC Satanic, you'll just live. And they focus so much on you that you'll have won the fight. That's all I can really say about it. It's always armor. Like, armor is so important on that hero. It makes his last, and evasion. Armor and evasion is what makes the last like 20% of your health so valuable and works so effectively. I will never build Daedalus on this hero ever. I saw Era build it. It made me disgusted. The only damage item I will build on this hero is Monkey King Bar, and that is for butterflies, PAs, and that will be like a 5th or 6th item. Heroes like PA, do not rush MKB ever. Please, I beg you. I get flamed all the time. Like people ask me all the time, and I want to flame them so bad. If you have a PA on the enemy team, you go my exact same build, and like if it comes to that late game, you get like a 6th item BKB or MKB, but you simply have, so let's see, there's a PA, right? You have treads, armlet, helm, AC, and halberd. Say by 30 minutes, even earlier. Say by 20 minutes, you have like half of you have the plate mail, treads, armlet, and a helm. You have like 30 armor. She ain't gonna do shit. All right, like she'll crit you and hit you for like 100. All right, like that's all. I've done that on stream enough. You ult her, it move and slows her through BKB. She can't touch you, so you basically rely on the rest of your team to kill her, and your ultimate does enough damage, and you'll eventually kill her, and you honestly can ignore her, and you just kill towers. Never build MKB. Daedalus, or like first item ever. Like never build it before like 4th or 5th item. Daedalus is just unnecessary. It just makes no sense to ever build. I would rather have so many other items. Okay, so you're 6 slotted. The game with, okay, if the game has gone late enough, you're gonna lose with Huskar. Like if it's gone past 40 to 50 minutes, you're probably gonna lose. But in the late game scenarios, like those are all the games I just showed you. Every game with Huskar that's a win will end before 40 minutes, like an easy win. The other ones really should be flukes. But like my ideal items are armlet, boots, so that's 2, AC, Satanic, MKB if needed, something like Mjolnir if needed, something like even a Shiva's at that point I'd rather have. Something like Abyssal Blade is actually a considerable item in the late game. There's really a lot, like Ghost Scepter with ETH Blade. Halberd is usually in my item kit. Like that's usually my 5th item almost always, because it's like there's almost always one single hero that does damage. There's just like, once you get to that point, the 6th item, it's gonna be like, I'd rather you just get an MKB over Daedalus, even if they don't even have evasion yet. I'd just rather you get an MKB. Like MKB is your reliable 6th item. It's just better. Like you don't hit very hard as that hero. Like you'll hit for 200. All of your damage comes from max attack speed plus flaming spears. It's just, in my opinion, it's much better to have the guaranteed miss. And even Axe Scepter as like a 6th item. I said 5th or 6th item. Axe Scepter is really good. It makes your ultimate 4-second cooldown 65% health. That's really good if you're scaling really hard. I almost always say if you're ahead, Axe Scepter is really good. What do you think of Blade Mail and Lotus Orb? Never. Lotus Orb is for your teammates to build. Blade Mail is if you're behind. You already have an armlet, already have a helm, and you're behind. I could understand Blade Mail, because at that point all you are is soaking up damage. But in any ideal game of Huskar, like remotely ideal, and when I say behind, I'm talking like you will never live through a fight behind. Like it's a shitty Huskar game. They have a lot of physical damage. They're just going to kill you, and you're never going to live. So you're just going to buy a Blade Mail. But otherwise, Lotus Orb is good for your teammates, but it's not worth for him. It's a 4K gold item that actually gives the hero nothing but 10 armor. Like I know it gives you the active, but you have to think about what the active I don't count because somebody else can buy it for you, right? But yeah, that's basically my Huskar guide. Silver Edge I do not believe is very good on Huskar. I'd rather have a Blink. I did not mention Blink. My opinion on Blink Huskar is the fact that if you have, you'll feel it. There are games where you'll get kited, and the only answer I have to Blink is that it should never be before AC Satanic. or at least AC Helm. Like that whole build progression I gave you, like you should have at least AC Helm or AC Halberd before you have a blink. Uh, it's not okay to blink on their team and initiate. Like a lot of the times, you don't even have to go to them; they have to come to you. Um, you want it to be like a late game, like I need to catch up with people kind of item. Like not gonna let them get away and just kite me. That's what the blink is for. It's not for initiation. Huskar is not an initiator. Um, yeah, that is my build. Oh, what is with Midas? You'll never buy a Midas, ever. I already said that the hero's weak. The hero farm like really early on. He's weak until he gets an armlet. He farms really fast with an armlet. If you give yourself a Midas, that just makes your window of vulnerability even higher. And there's really just like God damn. I should mention this, I guess. Just I don't know how else to explain it. There's never a right game to build Midas. I'd much rather have a 5-minute armlet than a 5-minute Midas on this hero. Like I could farm jungle twice as fast, maybe even 3 times as fast with an armlet than I can with a Midas. The best heroes on his team are really irrelevant, but the best combos on his team are mech carriers in the off lane or mid lane. Dazzle is particularly special with him. I actually think Keeper of the Light's really good. Venge is particularly good. Pretty much anything defensive. You don't really need offensive shit with Huskar. He'll tank all the... Like, you just need him to help you tank. Stuff that survives on its own as well. Abaddon is really good if you can get away with it. Stuff that wins its lanes, like Broodmother in the off lane, is particularly really good. Omni Knight's pretty decent, but he's like really weak and competitive. Stuff like Chen to push in the early games is really good. In general, it's just stuff that helps him 5-man, helps him tank up. Stuff that builds Medallion. Visage is even good. Stuff that builds like Solar Crest, giving it to the Huskar is really important. That's why Venge and Dazzle are really good. Overall, like your team comp doesn't matter. It's all about like in the end, it's only a bonus what your team comp is. It doesn't matter. Your team comp's a bonus. It only matters what the other team is. I am sorry, guys. I pretty much made it clear on my stream title what this stream was. If you tuned in for an actual game, I don't know how else to be straightforward with you. I appreciate it, everyone who tuned in. I will be streaming later. I mean, it's later today at this point. I pretty much spent all day making this guide and then failed to be able to edit it into something I wanted. It ended up being really long. I wanted to be really in-depth. It's going to be a 4-part guide on YouTube. It's going to be the intro, the 3 parts, and each game, each game will be labeled. One game against a melee offlaner where it's a snowbally type of game. Second game against a tough lane, but still worked out. And the third game against a competitive team and seeing the application even when you're behind, why it's such a good pick. But yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Everybody who who had tuned in, people are asking about a Huskar game. If you didn't learn anything from this guide, or if you learned anything from this guide, you'd realize that Huskar is a 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 games, an auto win if played correctly. He is not a hero you can just pick every game and win. That's just not how it works. So, BKB Huskar really is not that great if you don't need it. It's better to just let them stun you and then die to your team. Honestly, I know that sounds weird. But the Slark guide will be coming out. Like, I'll most likely be doing the same thing. I'll be doing like a late night stream on Monday for the Slark guide. Worst case scenario, I am gone next week, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'll be doing like the Slark guide on Thursday. That is worst case scenario. So yeah, it is like 100% win rate for 10% of your games. I mean, I've already shown this, but here's my Huskar win rate as the hero. Most of these games are in ranked. It's only about 66% here, but honestly, for a while, it got a little bit skewed. I will count it just because this isn't going to be on the guide, but that's 4 out of 5, 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7. I'm not counting practice games. 5 out of 8, because practice games could be stupid lobbies. They could be pro games. You never know. 6, 7, 9 out of 12, 10 out of 13, 11 out of 14, 11 out of 15, 15 out of 19. That's a party match. Don't include that. Don't include that. 16 out of 20, 17 out of 21, 18, 19 out of 23, 19 out of 24. So yeah, I am 22 out of 27 in my last 27 games of ranked matchmaking. I'd say 22-5 is a pretty solid rating at all 6K plus games on any hero. A lot of those games that I lose come down to stupid decision making by myself, learning about things on my, like, that's the kind of shit you learn. Yeah. Did you like Huskar before the change to his passive or after? I used to love playing him, but let's be honest, before the change he blew. So, yeah. When is the situation good to get Guardian Greaves? I'd honestly only say it's good and competitive. I mentioned this a bit earlier in the stream, but just Treads AC is so much better than Greaves. It's like 1,000 gold more in total, and it's just better. It's really just better. I don't know what else to say. Like, if you play both builds, and like you are perfectly fine to experiment with the items that I said are okay. Like when I said okay, I mean like they're decent. Like you can experiment with Vlad's, you can experiment with like 5th item Blink, you can experiment with like Ag Scepter 4th item, you can experiment with that kind of shit. Maybe Blade Mail if you're far behind, but otherwise this build is rock solid. Never build data, like I've already said, like never build Daedalus, never build that kind of shit. Like it just isn't right. Never build Midas, always go Armlet. Same skill build almost every game. But the point about Greaves and Treads AC is just the Greaves are nice, but I would almost consider them over luxurious. Like you just don't need them. And it's like there's a lot of other heroes that are better off building them. Like I just much rather have them on like an offlane Darkseer, or like I'd rather just have a mech on somebody than have Greaves on myself. Like it's a pretty big investment comparatively, and like I said earlier, is that Treads, like if you're the safe lane farmer, you're usually 90% of your games you're going to be the only physical damage, which means you're the only tower damage. And with Treads AC, you hit towers so fucking hard, but with Guardian Greaves you really don't. So it's also considered in the Roche speed. A lot of these Roches that you've seen have come down to the wire. A lot of these Roche fights have come down to the wire, meaning like, like you saw in that game against Mouse, I killed Roche like right at the end, like right as that fight broke out. I was killing Roche. Imagine if I had Greaves, I wouldn't have killed Roche that fast. That kind of stuff. It just adds up. You'll see it in your play. I don't think it's a horrible item, but as my analysis, Urn, it just delays your items. The thing I was trying to say in the other game that I was struggling, I built a wand, but the thing about the armlet is that it is so good that delaying it at all hinders you. And if you don't have to delay it, you just don't. So items like Urn, it just doesn't make sense. Not because it's a bad item on Huskar, but because it delays his armlet. And those are always like early game. Like, why would you go armlet Urn, right? Like, why would you go armlet Urn instead of armlet Morbid Mask, right? Like, that just doesn't make sense. So, like, I'd rather have, like, and if you're farming efficiently, Urn isn't going to do anything for you. It might do something for your team, but you're the one position. Like, you're not supposed to build shit for your team. Like, you're supposed to make yourself better. It gives you health, and you need raw tankiness with armor. You don't want actual health. What do you think about Lotus Orb? I already talked about Lotus Orb. I do not believe it is very good. But, like, if you saw it, yeah, well, I already talked about it. Like, people are talking about Urn. Like, you saw me, I was full health. I turned on my armlet. I did one camp. I was, like, level 7. I did one camp, and I went from full health, and I turned my armlet off, and I had 10 health. Like, Urn doesn't do anything. It really doesn't. I have Skype, yeah. How many competitive games did you play with Huskar? My record is 7-1. That was mentioned earlier in the stream. My record with Huskar in competitive is 7-1, and the only game I lost is because my team refused to listen to me and not ban AA, and the other team banned AA or picked AA, and we got fucked. All right. I have not been looking for a team yet. I'm not giving up or anything. It's just there's no tournaments right now. I'll probably be playing with a team over the summer just for the sake of keeping my practice up. And then next year, really looking to get serious. Like, I'm going to be looking serious again. Like, I'm not giving up. No way am I, like, quitting competitive. Please don't misquote me here. All this stuff's in the guide, but Huskar is 100% a safe laner. Are you going to add this guide to the in-game guides? I'm going to try, I think. I think there's a couple people that are interested in having me put this on their website. I've already talked about the counters to Huskar and picking him 4th or 5th. The whole point is I gave a tier list at the start. I gave a tier list at the start of the game. But Huskar is unpickable into AA. Unpickable. Like, I'm going to say that again. Unpickable. If they do pick AA, the best way you can deal with it is a 4-staff and dodging the AA ultimate. You still have to build an armlet, still have to do the same fucking build, but you have to dodge that AA ultimate however you can. 4-staff is really the best option. You can say Blink Dagger, but usually they initiate on you or the fight breaks out and then the AA ulti comes. It's a lot harder said than done, or a lot easier said than done to dodge the AA ultimate, but if you get hit by it, you lose. Yeah, so Orchid is not good situationally because I've talked about what's good on Huskar, tankiness, and Orchid does not offer that. You don't need to stop them from running away from you. You just need to go at them. Like, they'll come to you, man. You saw every game right there. I just sat there hitting towers. If they don't come to you, then they die, or they lose. So, if AA, there is no armlet, no, you still need an armlet. That's the problem. That is the problem. What is considered next year, literally after TI, or literally next year after TI? What about Huskar mid? Why do you go safe? I'm sorry, man. I just talked about it on the guide. Like, you can watch the guide. It's at the very beginning. It'll be in the intro. I talk about when to pick him and why to put him safe. Witch Doctor is not good against Huskar. You can just build evasion and armor. Like, he's good theoretically, but like his Maledict doesn't do anything to you. His Cask isn't a very good stun to stop Huskar, and his ultimate is pretty negligible physical damage when you build like I did. Like, if you have 30 armor and evasion, he doesn't do shit. What is the thought process of drafting in general? I've talked about that in this guide. I said Bloodseeker is basically unpickable. All that's at the start. Bloodseeker is really not about the pure damage. It's about the fact that he can see you at all times when you're low health, and you want to be low health because you want to be farming faster. Are Sniper and Troll even for you? What? I don't think Sniper and Troll are issues, especially in this patch. But last patch they were kind of issues, but like I wouldn't have not picked Huskar. Are you going to join Team Secret after Arteezy gets kicked? Can BKB work versus AA? No, it does not remove his ultimate. Are you going to play with Euros or try and stick with AA? I'm going to go with whatever best opportunity presents me, man. That's all I can really say about that. Necro is not good versus Huskar. His ultimate does not work. The Huskar guide will be up on YouTube in 4 parts, and I believe on other websites, and I'll be posting those on stream tomorrow if they are. Any ill feelings towards your old teammates? Kind of, but I'll get over it. Like, I'm not like, it's not like one of those where it like stops me from sleeping at night. Even versus an AM and Storm Spirit, yeah, Storm Spirit can't kill you. Like I've already said, you're not worried. Like Orchid, you're not worried about them. Every hero in the pool that I did not mention, there's a reason why they're not counters. Every single hero. Storm Spirit can't kill you. He just can't kill you. AM. You end the game before he's effective. You just end the game at 20 minutes. They can't pressure you because they have to defend their AM. Like, they have to tri-lane their AM. If they don't, their AM gets shut down, so then he's irrelevant. Huskar with less farm, or like little farm is decent. Like, Huskar with an armlet treads can do a lot, while an AM with like treads does shit, right? So, like, they have to shut you down. Like, if they try to shut you down, then they lose their AM. And if they don't shut you down, then you go treads, armlet, helm, take Roche at 12 minutes. They can't contest because they have an anti-mage. You take all their outer tier towers, and then at 20 minutes you take another Roche. That anti-mage has like Battle Fury Yasha or Battle Fury Vlad's or something like that. Maybe even Battle Fury Manta, and like you'll just get another Roche because they still can't contest you because you're a Huskar that's farmed as fuck, and you'll just end the game. And like that's how it goes every time. Like every single time with heroes like that. How do you deal with Timbers Huskar? You win the lane. You buy boots first. You win the lane because he just does. If you lose the lane, it's on you. You have to avoid his abilities. You're pretty mobile. He doesn't have to be right next to you. He should never really be able to walk up next to you. The minute you get level 3, your Flaming Spears hurt like a bitch. He can't really do anything to you. And you avoid him in the early to mid game and always keep tabs on where he's at. And if he attempts to gank you, you always just run away. You never fight him unless he's disabled. Because if he is disabled, he dies instantly, or not instantly, but really fast to armlet plus your ultimate. And then in the mid game, you just buy a BKB to counter Timbersaw because he doesn't do anything to you. I'm sure if Nagasagirs were out before 20, you're fucked. No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. You actually just end the game. Naga still doesn't stop you from pushing. You have to remember, you watch that last. If you watch that last game on the guide over again, my team was sitting behind me while I pushed the tower. I didn't have a creep wave. I was tanking tower. I was tanking everything, and they could not kill me. I had Aegis, and they couldn't even kill me once. You'll just end the game, even with Radiance. The Radiance burn does not affect Huskar at all. Huskar's Flaming Spears last longer than Shallowgrave, so Dazzle's most useful skill is pointless. Yes, he counters Dazzle because you just make sure you Flaming Spear whoever it is that's graved at least like 4 or 5 times, so a heal won't be enough. Who do you think are the good counters for Huskar? I talked about them at the very start. Do you think that you got kicked because your hero pool is too small and you can perform good on only a few heroes that teams are not sure about picking them? No, I don't think that's why I got kicked. How does Huskar deal with new Lothars? BKB and his ultimate, man. I showed it in the last guide. You can see, or I can show it in the last game of the guide. You can see it there. Would you pick Huskar against Quap? No, she's one of the 5 heroes I declared unpickable. How much DPI do you use and what mouse? I actually don't know what DPI is, but I probably should. I use the Razer Chroma Death Adder mouse, though. Have you played competitive games against Warlock? Do the Golems work well versus Huskar? They're okay. I've not actually played against Warlock in competitive. I have played against him in pubs. The Golems are really annoying, but in general, you can just kind of run from them. So... Like, I know he has upheaval and everything, but that's, like, really ideal scenario that they're sticking on you. And you kill them really fast. So it'd have to be a really farmed Warlock, and you'd have to be behind, which isn't where you win as Huskar anyways. Windranger can counter Huskar. Windranger, I didn't put her on the list, but yeah, she's actually pretty good. She's not amazing, but she's pretty good. Spectre's not good enough. Her pure damage, she doesn't right-click fast enough. You can use Armor Toggle. Thing is, Naga can always reset with sleep combo and fuck the supports. I mean, like, they're going to sit close enough to you that you can help them. I don't know what that means. Like, if they're sitting, probably 500 units behind me, such that they're just, like, waiting for us to be gone on, if they go on my supports, I'll just kill them after the Naga sleep comes off. Are there any heroes that can man-fight a Huskar? Ursa. Lifestealer's not a good counter. You just ult him and then kite him. You wait till he open wounds you, and then you ult him because it purges the open wounds off. And then now he's like, your movement slow goes through BKB and his rage. So just, yeah. Hazer, yeah, the Razor Kraken. This is, yep, Razor Kraken headset. The 5 heroes are AA, Quap, Broodmother, Lina, and Bloodseeker. If I say them, but then people don't have to watch the guide. Is Huskar's new immortal and makes him into a gymnast a requirement for baller play? Absolutely. If you want to be truly stylish as a Huskar picker, you have to. Sven is not very good against Huskar. You just kite him. He doesn't do enough physical damage early on. You'll end the game. Like, sure, later on. All these ideals, man. You have to pay attention to every single game I showed on that guide. Even the games I was losing. Like, I showed Slark. People say Slark's good against him. It's like the same idea. It's like I could show you 100 games. I could show you 100 games of all this shit going on over and over again. It's just the same thing. Lycan is actually pretty good versus Huskar. But I would not consider him unpickable against. Is Huskar any good mid? No. Is relying on teammates' Arcane Boots problem the only way to deal with mana problems? Tread switching is huge. I didn't mention that in the guide, actually, but it's a hero that's really good for practicing tread switching. I kind of just assume you should tread switch, and that didn't need to be a part of the guide. But you should always tread switch on Huskar. It's so good. How about OD? You just buy a BKB or a Halberd. The full guide is going to be on my YouTube as well as other channels, apparently. I'll be letting you guys know. It will for sure be on my YouTube sooner rather than later. I've been having issues putting videos on YouTube, but I mean, I made it. I'm not just going to have a Huskar guide and never put it on YouTube. Yanjan or Yanjin, I never know, man. Thank you so much for the Yanjin. Thank you so much for the subscription 2 months in a row, man. This Q&A is going to ruin the guide when I watch it. Armor toggles definitely you have to definitely be a good armor toggler to be a good Huskar player. But I did talk about armor toggles a solid amount, I think. Can you give the guide link? I mean, it hasn't been posted yet, so I'll tell you guys right now that my stream tomorrow night will have the guide link on it. Is PL a counter to Huskar? Same idea. He doesn't come online fast enough. Heroes like PL make it there's much more of an execution threshold, meaning that like if you fuck up and it goes to like the 35-minute mark and PL's getting good farm, then it's really an issue. But like PL can't stop you from pushing his towers and around the 15-minute mark with Aegis. Only heroes that counter Huskar are the ones that can do that. Faceless Void, his bash, his magic damage builds into a Maelstrom. No, he doesn't do enough. I already read the interview on Join Dota. If you guys want to check that out, it's on Reddit. But I'm not sure about when I'm looking to do this. It could be very soon. Will we see Huskar and TI in your opinion? I really think it's a mistake on these teams if they don't pick Huskar and they're like I'm telling you, Huskar is a free win. Hex on Huskar is 6 Island. I'd rather get an Abyssal Blade. Yeah, I said Ricky counters Huskar in pubs. Why am I sad? Wisp does not counter Huskar. PA does not counter Huskar at all. I already talked about that. Does Huskar ulti remove Halberd? Yes. Troll beats Huskar with lifesteal and ulti. Laning was nerfed, not his fighting potential. PS, what's your opinion on Greaves? I already answered the Greaves on my guide. And Troll, you buy a Halberd during his ultimate and you Halberd him. If he buys a BKB, you ult him and walk away. If he's not bashing you, he's not doing enough. Sniper, same thing. Just buy a Halberd. He doesn't do enough damage early on to kill you. I said TA is a minor nuisance. Usually you build a Halberd there as well. Same idea. Ricky does counter Huskar in the early game because if you're jungling, he can just kill you. What if you get perma-stunned by Troll? That's what I said. You stun him and ran away. So you should not get perma-stunned by Troll. If he bashes you on first hit and proceeds to bash you, I'm pretty sure Troll beats every hero in that scenario. And he doesn't get disabled a single second by anybody, yeah. Shrapnel around, I don't like what about Shrapnel? Invoker's okay versus Huskar. I know he has Sunstrike and EMP. But either way, like one's a targetable, like you have to hit it, and the other one's like channeled, and he's a pretty low mana pool hero, so you can just like use your heal and you'll burn like 200 mana and it's like 200 damage. So they're not like, it's like pretty easily toggleable abilities, and one of them's dodgeable. So Huskar ult can't purge Halberd. How do you control heroes on the other team? Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Here, somebody type in BSJ's chat or Bananas chat, anybody, and I'll invite you to this lobby. I don't feel like working this out. Somebody come into this lobby and pick a hero and buy a Halberd. Somebody's type in Bananas chat, and I'll invite you. Anybody, first one. Offlane Huskar is garbage. I already talked about it. Skill build for Huskar is in the guide as well. Talked about it every game. Necrophos, Silver Edge, plus Reaper Scythe combo. That's legit. If I die to a Necrophos with a Silver Edge, then fuck me, dude. That's a 5k gold item that doesn't help the hero at all. Use Create Hero Anti-Dire. Nobody wants to help me out, huh? Okay. Nobody? I'm giving you like a minute. But, like, am I able to control them? Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's all I needed. I just needed one. Uh, Are you salty at any of your old teammates? I'll get over it. What is the perfect item against Huskar as a support? Solar Crest is decent. Ghost Scepter is decent. There's no perfect item. Like the Ghost Scepter's not even that great. Halberd's probably the best thing you can build. And even then, like by that point, if you're a support with a Halberd, he probably is a BKB. Why won't it? Why won't it let me do anything? The fuck? Okay. Thank God I'm not playing tonight.
30 paces to war, boys.
Yeah, Huskar ulti doesn't purge Halberd. God. Twitch knows everything. Oh my god. Twitch knows everything. God.
The battle begins.
I swear to God, Twitch people. Like, I was one of those where I wanted to 100% confirm because I didn't want to look like an idiot on my guide. Glimmer Cape's pretty good against Huskar, but it's not enough. Freaking Twitch, man. I wanted to show you guys for the sake of proving it. Twitch chat fan gaze. Yeah. I've already talked about it on my guide, but for people who weren't here and don't feel like watching my guide, his ultimate works like activating a BKB. So if activating a BKB purges it, then his ultimate does too. So, it's like one thing if you say like, oh, it's like I don't think his ultimate gets purges Halberd, but like Twitch is always like his ult doesn't purge Halberd. Fuck that, man. Yeah, BKB does purge Halberd. That's what I was trying to say. Is like his ultimate acts like a Halberd or like acts like a BKB. Damn, this leg is so sexy. But okay, guys, I appreciate everyone who tuned in. My guide's gonna be up on my YouTube. I'm gonna try to do it now. It's gonna be 4 parts, 3 separate games, 3 separate scenarios, and an intro that talks about when to pick them and whatnot. So have a great night, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the guide. All these questions you guys are asking about other things, I'll talk about tomorrow. So I have a stream coming up. I appreciate it. Have a great night.